too, you know.
Okay, can everybody?
Well, he was in the original Arsenic and Old Lace, the stage
He was,
show.
yeah.
And
Where are you?
wanted to
Right
do
here.
the movie, but they didn't want to release him from the play.
Why can't I see
He was
you?
to start. They agreed to let the two
My
female
problem all my
leads do the
life.
play,
Yeah.
but Karloff was the name.
Oh, there you
on
are.
the stage.
Well, that's why, yeah, that's why in the movie, the guy, they talk about in the movie how he looks like that guy. You know who I mean.
Yeah. Do, do, do.
I played Jonathan Brewster in a high school production of Arsenic and Old Lace. And one of my lines is, I killed him because he told me I look like Boris Karloff.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
played really well with 16-year-olds in 1993.
I'm sure.
That, yeah.
He does look like Boris Karloff.
Looks like I've got a giant penis, like
It's Raymond Massey.
This is
Okay, now I can't.
this is the giant store dildo, and his name is Raymond Massey.
oh,
Show some
Raymond
respect to the
Massey.
Yeti.
Raymond Massey.
kind
It
of looks
really-
like that.
Well, now it looks like you're being violated
Yeah.
by a robot penis.
Oh, is this that Love, Rock, Death, and Robots cartoons? That's what that is.
It doesn't matter.
It's a little bit better. It's an experiment. We'll see if it
Yeah.
works.
Gone horribly wrong.
Radiation coming out of that thing.
Okay.
There we go.
You all ready over there, Greg? Excited?
Check, check. Checkity, check, check, check.
Excuse me.
Okay, we're just about ready to go here. It's a bittersweet symphony that's life.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking grapefruit scented vodka with lots of fizzy water.
It's an official fizzy water of the NHL. Apparently.
Apparently, this is what all the more
They drink this on the bench.
this is what the more dignified, refined jocks all drink.
Yeah.
Is this all? Is this Robin's? Do you have this left in your fridge or something? Is that
No,
right?
I actually have been trying to cut down on beer and bread. I shaved, and then I saw this second chin, and I was like, "That's not good." I could probably lay off. I could drink beer like once a week.
I like since you shave, you now hate people with beards.
I hate you all.
Yeah.
Well, not.
Well, yeah.
No, I don't hate. It's not like the sneeches on the beaches. Like, I understand that I'm a beardy person,
Right.
like
Yeah.
underneath the skin.
When I could have a beard, I had beards.
You had a huge beard.
I had huge, and I could grow like any kind of beard.
Any kind of beard.
Really?
Yeah, like I
What
had
kinds of
in
beard
the
are there?
'90s. I had a Fu Manchu mustache that went down like this,
Oh, that's pretty rare.
with one down here
Oh
in
yeah.
the middle like that. Right. I could have braided them or stuff, but I was not that kind of person.
Right.
I
Right.
just had the long things, and I had the goatee when it was cool, of course. You know.
I resisted
You know.
facial hair until like 5 years ago. I was like, I'm gonna no tattoos, no piercings, no facial hair.
Then it started growing.
Nice, good one.
Ding! I got
Yeah.
dinged. I got dinged. On the subject of hair, though, we
Long, beautiful hair.
could talk.
What?
Never mind. Are we gonna do this?
I'm ready to do this.
All right.
All right, yeah.
It's in memoriam. Rest in peace, Charles
Fucking Grodin.
Xavier Grodin.
What was his middle name? Xavier.
No,
You say that.
That would be awesome.
I was
if
like
it
Charles
was.
Xavier.
I
That'd
would like it if it was.
Quick question: how is Josie
Oh,
sounding?
somebody's phone is beeping somewhere.
We're not picking up much on Josie.
What? Hello.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. I had the mic down here.
Yeah.
That was why you weren't picking.
Yeah,
up.
you gotta
Right.
you have to keep it the same
I know.
spot every time.
I
we
know
talk.
this, but
Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of stoned, and I had a bit of beer.
It's just easy to. It's easy to
Yeah.
go into that habit.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
I talk with my hands sometimes.
it is sort of. It's getting to be After Dark. This is Black Dog Video. That makes this the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, aka Black Dog After Dark.
Also known as Black Dog AD.
I am one of your hosts, Dylan Reimer. I'm a comedian and occasional employee of Black Dog Video here in Vancouver. And as always, sitting to my left is...
I'm Alex Chisholm. I also work at Black Dog Video Commercial Drive, and I also program at the Rio Theater down the street, 1660 East Broadway,
When it's open.
when it's open.
Yeah. Hopefully that'll be soon.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
I like it better when it's open.
Yeah, me too.
Me
It's a
too.
lot more fun.
Oh,
More fun to work there when it's open.
who are you, third voice?
I am Darren Gay. I own this decrepit establishment in the sunny confines of East Vancouver.
You always say such nasty things about your own property.
It's said in love.
It's like hard love.
Yeah, well,
You know, spare the rod, spoil the store.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And we are joined once again by a regular guest, fellow employee,
Old friend.
artist,
Yes.
old friend, Josie Boyce. Say hello, Josie.
Hello, Josie.
Oh, such a classic. I love it.
You can't not do that, right? I'm standing here with a comedian
course.
who's sitting here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you're always
Uh,
running
They have
past the
someone a
comedian.
mic and they've got to make a line like that.
Yeah, it's just how it goes. Yeah, I'm Josie Boyce. I'm the former manager of this establishment.
It wasn't as decrepit when you were running
It was less decrepit then.
Oh,
but
it's tip
it was
top.
still it was just mostly crepit.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as
It wasn't quite. Yes, it was
just
decent.
crepit.
Decently crepit.
And actually, Darren's sitting right out underneath where the leak used to be.
Yeah.
And
You know,
it-
That would be dripping on him now.
oh yeah.
The
Right.
funny thing is, we don't know what that leak was.
No,
No,
No.
no one could ever determine what it was.
it could be a ghost peeing.
It could be a
I,
ghost
I
peeing.
think really
Ghost
that's what
urine.
it was, is ghost urination.
It's what do they call it? The ectoplasm
Yeah.
leaking onto Darren.
Yeah, well, I don't.
And
yeah,
speaking of
anyways.
ectoplasm, isn't this is about the recently deceased?
This is about the recently deceased. I was going to ask you about a few of your other projects.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I have a zine that you can buy here at Black Dog. It's on the shelf when I'm working on the desk. It's called The Indolent Spinster's Occasional Concern, and I'm the indolent spinster. Make of that what you will.
And the occasional concern. You write about pop culture movies.
Pop culture. There's a lot of movie reviews in it. I have a noir special. I have a horror spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
You
did Zardoz, I think.
I
a few
did.
weeks
Yeah,
back.
I did a film festival of 70s sci-fi movies, and I did Zardoz. It was called Everything's Coming Up Zardoz.
You said,
I love it.
You sat in for our Zardoz, right?
And I sat in for the Zardoz
Oh, that's
podcast
right.
here just a little while ago,
Yes.
and which I've listened to, and we were kind of funny.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
You know,
was
you
a good one.
get a couple drinks in you. They start out boring. So if you're listening at home or
Yeah,
or
just
or
like, what the hell
fast
is
forward
this?
about an hour.
if you're jogging while listening to this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would.
Do some stretches.
But if you want to jog for roughly 90 minutes while listening to an obscure film
Yeah,
because
start off
your
slow.
wife is mad at you or something, fast
Or
forward
something.
about 20 minutes until we get a few drinks in and
Yeah.
and then the fists start flying.
Yeah.
But we're going to be well behaved this
Yeah.
time because this is an in memoriam episode.
So we're all sad.
This is one of the sad ones, but it's also a celebration.
Exactly.
We just found out, sadly, that the newly late great Charles Grodin passed away yesterday. And so we scrapped our plans. We etch-a-sketched it, and we figured because we've been wanting to do this movie for some time,
Mm-hmm.
and of course we invited Josie on because you are also a big fan of 1988's classic action comedy Midnight Run,
Yes.
which directed by Martin Brest of Beverly Hills Cop fame.
And Jiggly fan.
Oh, he did Geely?
Yeah.
Oh no.
That was, I think, might have been his
Well,
last movie.
Well, let's not
had
talk about that.
He had
Speaking of
some
death.
up and down career.
Yeah.
You know, he was not. He made some good films.
He did.
I only know Beverly Hills Cop. That's the only one I could really
That's
think of.
that's one of his best.
Well,
opinion.
I would argue that the one we're talking about tonight.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
probably
Probably.
the best.
Is
And
his best.
sadly, it's kind of a cult film. Not a lot of people. I mean, less people than I know have that I would have expected
Mhm.
remember this movie. But those who have seen it tend to love it. I don't know anyone who's like, I saw Midnight Run and I just hated it.
Yeah, nobody hates this movie.
It has its 80s elements. The saxophone music.
Oh, that hot sax.
Oh yeah,
Courtesy of Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman.
makes me dream of Yaphet Kotto every time I hear it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, Fett.
I mean,
I forgot he was in
This
this until he
was-
showed up on screen.
Yeah.
I love Danny
That's wonderful
Elfman's
when he shows up.
Yeah.
music, but I found this to be of the ones I've seen anyway, or the ones I've heard. This is the least Danny Elfman of Danny Elfman sound.
I'd say that's
It was a
reasonable.
really straight up slick kind of TV cop show.
this
feel.
must have been shortly after Pee-wee's Big Adventure and right before Batman, I would imagine.
Yeah, we're right in that time frame.
Yeah, just because I would never have guessed.
Because when it came out, 88, 89?
This is a 1988 classic.
Yeah.
I'll get things started. My first memory of Midnight Run is this is one of those. I was 13. Probably one of the first R-rated movies. Absolutely, the first Robert De Niro movie I ever saw. So when I think of Robert De Niro, I always think of Midnight Run. Like even the whole time I'm watching The Irishman, I'm like, it's the guy. That old guy was in Midnight Run. I thought he was a comedian, and then I found out afterwards that he's this beloved actor, like the greatest actor of all time. He's terrific in this. Yeah, it's one of those experiences when you're a kid, you get to go to an R-rated comedy where there's tons of smoking, tons of swearing, tons of shooting.
So was it rated R because of all the swearing?
Swearing, absolutely. Because I don't think
There's nothing else in it, really.
nobody gets killed in it. There's a lot of shooting and a lot of cars crashing.
Marvin gets beat up a lot.
Well, there's a helicopter.
And he deserves it.
Yeah.
The helicopter baddies.
Yeah, those guys get smoked.
They get properly blown up real good,
Blown up real good.
as SCTV would say.
Mhm.
So and my sister and I this is the movie that we quote more than any other movie. So Midnight Run has pretty much been a part of my life
Wow.
since 1988, and I'm happy to sit down and talk about it for the next hour or so. How about you, Alex?
I first remembered seeing ads for it in magazines. Like I read Rolling Stone as a teen and stuff, and there was like a full page ad for it and stuff. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it on like a lot of the movies I refer to here. The first time I seen them was when it was on pay TV, like First Choice and Super Channel, because they were, I was a little too young to see it in the theater. But first time I saw it was on pay TV. I first heard of it just through general advertising, picture of the two running down the highway, and then I saw it on TV. And I think I watched it with like my brother and my sister or something, and the three of us were really into it. And I saw it one other time after that on VHS in the 90s. Like two roommates happened to rent it. I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen this in a while. And I sat down and watched it. And I really, I enjoyed it both times. But this was the first time, I guess, watching it on DVD and seeing it like a nice widescreen edition or whatever, compared to how I saw it before being on television or formatted for television or VHS.
Formatted for the airplane.
Yeah, with all the F-bombs taken out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was not. No, it wouldn't have been taken out because it was one of the movie channels.
Oh, okay.
No, I saw the movie uncut. It was just that it was like either a crappy formatted for your television.
This is a terrible movie to watch on TV when it's censored.
Well, I
didn't see it.
I've seen it. I've sat through a few minutes and like you pretty much cut Dennis Farina entirely.
Entirely, and Joe Pantoliano.
Did they like on television? Would they just like silent or bleep out the swearing? Or
No,
would they change the words
they changed the words to words that don't exist
I love that.
that I can't even replicate because they just like what?
It's so nonsensical.
It's totally nonsensical.
Yeah, Muddy Funster.
Yeah.
The first time I saw, Do the Right Thing was on CTV.
Oh God.
And like the Academy Performance, whatever.
I think there's swearing in that movie.
They do, and I didn't catch on right away. I turned it on, and they kept saying Mickey Flicky. And I remember thinking it was some kind of slang I didn't understand. I went, wait a minute, they're dubbing. A friend of mine was talking about it the next day who had seen it on VHS. I'm like, oh my God, they aired it on TV last night, Do the Right Thing, and they were saying Mickey Flicky. I was I get it now.
Who thinks of these things?
I flicked her Mickey last night 6 times.
Oh, is that what it was?
I just think of Mickey Mouse getting flicked behind the ear.
But I've never seen this film cut or anything. It aired on one of the movie channels, but just like formatted for. I didn't see a nice widescreen.
Yeah, every second word in this is fuck.
Yeah.
I can't think of a movie with more swearing than Midnight Run.
Scarface.
The original title was Mid.
I don't know, man. I think in Scarface they take breaks to shoot each other and do cocaine.
There is that.
But in this, it's just nonstop barrage of and specifically fuck. Like I don't think they ever say shit.
Scarface held the record for.
Oh really?
It did for many years. It might still actually.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully somebody will come along and beat that.
Yeah. There's something for our young people. A challenge.
To aspire to. Maybe
A
Bill Burr will
challenge
get
for
a
young
movie.
filmmakers.
Mr. Darren, sir.
Mm.
What are your first memories of Midnight Run?
I saw it in the theater when it came out. I guess in '88. Be honest, I didn't care that much for it when I first saw it. I thought it was okay. I was like, it's just another kind of buddy cop kind of actiony thing. But I saw it and it didn't really stay with me, and I can't remember if I've seen it or not since. I may have, or I may not have, until last night.
Okay, you're withholding. I guess how you feel about this.
Oh yeah,
until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And Josie.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, I've always been a big booster of this movie, and I saw it when it came out, and I was like 22 or something then. I went to see every movie that came out pretty much. I was a film student. and I watched films all day. That's all I did. And I didn't see it again for a couple of years, and then I moved to Vancouver, and a friend of mine that I was staying with had a tape.
What was on this tape?
Midnight Run. Yeah, it was like
it's intriguing.
tape, Midnight Run, and we watched the hell out of that tape. Smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of beer, and to this day, literally 30 years later, still when we see each other, quote this film back and forth with each other.
No.
And anything that happens that is remotely similar, we say the Dennis Farina line that is appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm
And stab you in the
gonna
neck with the
stab-
number 2 pencil.
Yeah, he
exactly.
did have the best lines.
Yeah.
Have a cream soda.
Is this dummy number 1 or dummy number 2? Put dummy number 2 on the phone.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, this movie just, I don't know. It's this combination. My sister and I do that too.
Yeah.
Just out of the blue. If Chicago comes up at all if we are within earshot of the word Chicago, immediately it's why weren't you popular with Chicago Police Department? And we have entire conversations that are just lines from Midnight Run.
Did he ever answer that question? I know he was asked
he
it
did.
a number
He
of
did.
times.
He did on the train. On the
train?
train. Yeah, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. It's pretty obvious. He wouldn't take a payoff.
Yeah.
And then his wife went and married a corrupt cop.
Right.
Which he's a real jerk about when he goes and asks her for money.
Sure is.
Yeah.
It doesn't take him long to.
Yeah.
He loses cool. It's like yelling at her.
Yeah, like immediately.
Yeah. I haven't seen her in 9 years. Asking for money.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And then the man you married is a totally corrupt cop right in front of his kid too.
Yeah.
Okay, so this movie. Firstly, I think he got a great script.
Yeah, the script is very good.
The cast is. Did Martin Brest write it? I didn't.
No, it's a different writer.
no.
I can't remember the name. I never heard of the guy before. I did a little bit of research on the movie today, and I never heard of him. But no, it's not Martin Brest. He produced and directed it.
You got the cast. I mean, I'm watching this thing, and it's just at the time I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't know who Yaphet Kotto was. I didn't know who Joe Pantoliano was.
Joey Pants.
And then watching
Joey
it this
Pants.
time, it's just like, oh yeah. Like, I mean, everybody in this movie is great.
John
I
Ashton.
read about this film some time ago, like a couple of years ago, just read an article or something. And apparently, I'm not joking, talking about casting, but the Grodin character, seriously, 2 actors that were seriously considered to play that character, and I'm not joking, Robin Williams and Cher.
And Cher, yeah. And also Bruce Willis.
Bruce
Really?
Willis.
He was in
yeah.
talks for that. But they wanted Cher for the
Why?
Charles Grodin because they wanted to have a female. They wanted to have some sort of sexual chemistry between her and Robert De Niro. And they said, and Martin Brest said no. And then the original studio dropped the project and it got picked up by another studio because because it's more box office friendly to have a bigger star.
It's also weirder when Jack like handcuffing Cher to the inside of a train bathroom,
Yeah.
like is
Handcuffing her to everything.
or just or punch. It's Charles. Or Marvin just cold cocking Cher,
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
and then Dennis Farina saying, "I'm going to find your husband and murder him after I shoot you in the fucking head."
Well, I was thinking like it's all dudes in this movie. The only woman is De Niro's ex-wife.
Yeah,
I was thinking like, maybe it would have been interesting to have like the other bounty guy, John Ashton's character, played by like a tough woman. Might have been interesting. But then I'm thinking he gets like punched in the face so many times, and like they have to do a workaround on that because you can't keep punching the woman in the face through the whole movie.
yeah, and then handcuffing him to a car and leaving her in the desert.
Yeah,
And then she's
because it's all played for laughs, and that wouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
With a woman, but it's funny with the.
There's just so much violence in this movie that a lot of audiences would have found it off-putting.
I didn't find that violent.
Like
but
I would imagine, like maybe the feds. You could maybe Yaphet Kotto's character.
Oh, he's so good.
Maybe Mosley.
Yeah.
But he's so good.
Yeah.
He is.
Oh my god.
Iconic.
Are all you guys named Mosley? I mean, every line in this movie is funny.
Because you think that joke of his name keep being used coming up over and over again it would get tired after a while, but it doesn't.
It
It's
never
funny.
does.
It's funny every single
My friend who had the tape, he knew another guy who I never met. This guy he always talked about, who had a fake ID. Alonzo Mosley.
Really? That's awesome.
And he kept using it after he turned. He was American, and he kept using it after he turned 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
would legally change my name
Yeah.
to Alonzo Mosley, FBI.
Apparently, Yaphet Kotto hated doing this movie.
Really?
He had a miserable time.
He kind of looks like
He looks
miserable
unhappy.
He wasn't feeling well for the whole time. Martin Brest made him do take after take after take. He says it's one of the worst movie experiences he's ever had.
Wow.
I know, and he just died like a couple weeks ago.
That's right.
And then somebody else in this movie.
We better keep an eye on all these guys. Joey Pants is still alive, right?
And so is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's not still alive.
Philip Baker Hall.
Yes.
So I always get. It's the three named Phillips.
Well, you know what? I noticed something interesting in this movie about Philip Baker Hall's character.
I noticed this too.
His name's Sidney.
Yes.
And Paul Thomas Anderson, another three-name guy, his first movie, Hard 8, he's in that movie as a character named Sidney. It's supposed to be called Sidney, actually.
Yeah. Hard 8 was originally called Sidney.
So I wonder. I wonder if there's something.
I'm actually
like
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm like almost 100% sure there's at least one other movie where he's called Sidney.
Really?
I think there might even be a couple.
There are 4. I looked it up.
You looked it up
because his name was Sidney, and I was like, I couldn't figure out. At first, I thought he was. I thought he was the lawyer for Dennis Farina for Jimmy Serrano, and I'm like, wait a minute, a lawyer doesn't get to just say kill him, so he doesn't go on the stand. And then I looked it up, and then when I was thinking how much I love Philip Baker Hall and everything.
Yeah.
What happened with Sidney is he's been in 4 movies. They are, I wrote this down. It's Hard 8, a short P. Anderson, Cigarettes and Coffee, Eye for an Eye, and The Midnight Run.
Well, you forgot though. He also played Sidney in Sid and Nancy.
Jeez, man, that's not even a dad joke.
That was actually for Alex. That was pretty.
I saw him play Gary Oldman playing Sid Vicious.
Oh, that's heavy.
Oh, that's deep.
One man stage show.
That's seriously mad.
Very
the
off-road.
ultimate Sidney full circle.
But so the movie Sidney, aka Hard 8. Paul Thomas Anderson, when he was in high school, saw Midnight Run and really loved Philip Baker Hall because he got kind of obsessed with him because he did so much with such a small role.
Right.
That he wrote a short film called Cigarettes and Coffee, and he cast him as Sidney, and then so basically Hard 8 came about because he plays a character named Sidney in Midnight Run. Paul Thomas Anderson wrote.
Nice.
So there's a total connection. I was wondering.
There's a direct connection.
I was wondering if he even continued that character because it's he's like in the. I can't remember if he's a mob guy in Hard 8, but he's in Vegas.
I think he's just a gambler, isn't he?
Gambler.
Well, he's a grifter,
Right.
Yeah.
And he always kind of plays that character,
it's not out of his wheelhouse to play that sort of guy at all.
Sort of, my favorite is actually in The Talented Mr. Ripley. That movie comes up on the podcast all the time. But he's kind of a hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so good at that kind of like gumshoe, I don't know, like almost like a film noir kind of character. Anyway, so 4 movies where he's named Sidney, and it's because of Midnight Run that we got Hard 8.
Oh, well, way to go, Midnight Run!
Good. Yeah, well, Paul Thomas Anderson also has good taste.
Yeah. Never made a bad film.
See the cast. Who else have we got? We got Dennis Farina, Joe Pantoliano, Yaphet Kotto, John Ashton. There's another guy. I could not figure out what I knew this guy from, and then it was Midnight or once again Beverly Hills Cop.
Midnight Run.
It's like and he is just so fucking funny in this movie.
Yeah,
like every Marv scene is hilarious.
Great. Yeah,
and that could have just been a dead character, like a lame character, like he's just a jerk.
He almost steals the show when he's in the scenes with us, but especially like when the 3 of them are on screen together.
Yeah.
But those other 2 guys are so good.
Have you seen the TV movie version of Midnight Run?
I remember the TV series.
Yeah, the TV series. He actually that's what it was. It was a series.
It was very.
I only saw when it was first.
Episode.
Yeah, it was like a pilot episode I saw, and it had Marvin in it, that actor.
Oh, John Ashton came back for the series, like Radar on MASH. Yeah.
Who played the De Niro character on the show? Do you remember?
Some guy.
Some really, guy who on the surface is a hero type,
right?
Yeah,
but had no depth. Or
he was like a sitcom actor.
Like some guy
or something.
Yeah, like interchangeable brunette man.
Yes, better than Richard Grieco.
Yeah, I think,
But
I
not
don't think
much.
I don't think it was Richard Grieco exactly,
No.
but like that ballpark.
But one of those types, Greekish.
Greek,
I did
Grieco-ish.
nothing against the Greeks,
No, he has nothing to
but
do
the
with it.
Greekos,
Yeah.
you got to go.
Screw 'em.
There are so many. This is such a well written script. The story is good. The characters are great, but it's the little side jokes, like the kid
Well,
on the
it's
air, the kid on
it's
the airplane.
The dialogue and the bits are polished.
Yeah,
Right. Like this is like these the setups and the lines. Like you almost if you're a professional actor, like all these people are good actors.
yeah.
You really can't fail with this because it's the lines are so good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wish I'd bothered to look up who wrote this. I apologize to the writer because I'm a huge fan.
He's probably dead now.
But there's so many. There's a scene where Marvin. I think it's when you first see Marvin, and Joey Pants phones him up and says like, Walsh screwed up or whatever. And Marvin's in a motel room. He's eating fries
Right,
on the
yeah.
bed, and he's like, I don't know why you keep hiring that guy, And then it pulls back, and he's got a guy chained to the radiator.
Yeah.
And the guy's asking for fries.
Yeah, and he goes, but then, the guy says, "Can I have it?" He goes, "It's your lucky day, fucka. Why? Shut up." And then he says, "Can I have one of the fries?" And then he says, "I already told you no." And that line, "I already told you," it's like you can just imagine the conversation about the fries.
That led up to that.
Yeah. And there's another thing where if Dennis Farina says like, "Is this more on number one, putting more on number two on the line or whatever?" And it's like, I'm going to come down, I'm going to stab you in the neck with a number 2 pencil. And he hangs up, and then there's just one more joke where the bartender mobster is like, he's not mad at me, is he?
Yeah.
And there's just all these little add-ons.
Actually, one of my favorite bits is when one of those two gangsters is on the phone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the guy's like pretend to punch him. He's like, get out. He
Yeah.
comes back. He's like giving a few shots. It's such a weird little.
Hop along, Cassidy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hop along, Casadich is so funny. And then and again he goes, take that thing off. I'm not going to tell you again.
Yeah.
It's like, so they must have had the conversation earlier about the stupid hat.
Yeah.
I could watch a whole movie about those two mobsters.
Yeah.
Oh, that
They're
would be the
pretty awesome.
spin-off. Is those two guys?
Oh god, they're funny. They're so fucking funny.
Yeah.
If Dennis Farina was still alive,
Oh,
Because
that's
he could-
yeah.
he would be like occasional guest star.
God,
Telling
right.
them off.
Yeah, he had the best lines. I'm gonna stab you in the fucking heart with a pencil.
I'm gonna come down there. Jesus Christ, and you calm down, have a cream soda, have a sandwich, have some goddamn thing. Everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had to stop and write. I just had to write down. But I'm gonna stab you in the neck with a number 2 pencil. I'm gonna get on a plane and blowtorch the both of you. And then anyway, I mean, like, we don't even need to talk about the plot. I mean,
No.
unless you want to start from the beginning, but I
doesn't really
don't know if we
matter.
really need to.
You could probably do a.
The plot's simple. Like Charles Grodin is an accountant for the mob who's stolen a bunch of money, and he's gone on the land before he has to go to trial. So the bail bondsman is out, sends De Niro out. Who,
Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah.
Ex-cop turned bounty hunter.
Yeah.
De Niro.
And then Joey Pants just
He's
yells
funny in this.
all his lines.
Yeah.
It is one of the worst outfits I think I've ever seen in a movie. It's
and
like
beard.
it's like so everything. The little tiny like earring and he just exudes sleazy pimp guy,
the,
but
the
he's not a
king
pimp.
of Greece.
And
Yeah.
right off the bat, he's trying to rip off Jack Walsh.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's 900. Right before he asked him for a favor, he's trying to rip him off.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And every character in this movie has something to do. Like Joey Pants is this assistant. Like
Yeah.
he's
He's in the mob.
he's
on
informing the
yeah.
mob. Like
He's trying to weasel his way into the mob.
and he's just always saying, "I'll go get some donuts."
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing that in the theater, and every time that guy said, "I'll get some donuts," the entire audience would laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Why is it though? Whenever you say that line, no one laughs.
Donuts
See
are
you
gross.
trying in
'Cause
your
I have
head, don't get the
diabetes.
donuts. People
He'll
just
die
sit
if
there
he eats
quietly. Why?
I'm not allowed to eat donuts. So it's basically, tough guy bounty hunter has to get sensitive, savvy,
Mhm.
probably smart. It's two different kinds of smart. You have
Yeah.
the street smart versus like the book smart.
Right.
Um,
He's also a little street smart. He fakes not being able to fly
mhm,
to get off the plane because to prolong the
Yeah.
time between he is going
He
to
does
jail.
some pretty good like conning of his own. which is it's sort of at first you think he's not, and then you're like, oh wait, no.
But he's so good at it because he's so deadpan. He's so quiet, and just his deliveries are top notch.
I really focused on, for obvious reasons, I focused on Charles Grodin's performance more this time.
He's a really big head.
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, he did have a big head.
Okay.
I know that's why he's got a lot of face. He's got a lot of head, but
just better acting with that big old head of his.
Yeah. Well, most actors have giant heads.
Like his acting gland in his brain was bigger than
huge.
other people's. But just that whole scene in the plane, like he's furtive. He's pulling at his tie,
biting his nails.
And it's bullshit. But he takes it to the next.
I forgot that it was bullshit.
I guess when I was a kid, I was like, that's exactly what I would just. There's no fucking way I'm getting on this plane.
But then I was thinking, well, if I was to do that, then I have to make a scene. I might be a little too embarrassed to make a scene.
Better than having your brains blown out.
They take like 8 hours later.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just so good. So then they wind up on a train. It's the obvious
Trains,
comparison
planes,
is trains. It's like trains, planes, and automobiles.
De
A lot more F words.
Through a lot of it, he's impersonating an FBI officer while doing.
He's impersonating Alonzo Mosley. Every time I watch, I'm like,
lifts his ID.
There's no way he could have done it. Every time I'm like, he doesn't
because he's in the front seat and De Niro's in the back seat.
Yeah, and even on the sidewalk, he couldn't have done it.
Yeah, because he could.
No, there's a moment where he you can see his hand disappears on the side. It's something I've watched for when I'm watching.
Okay, because I'm always watching for it.
You can slow it down and find it, kind of thing.
Because I assume that it would be one of the two guys in the back seat because he's right there. They're just crunched right in there. It would have been easier to steal those, but then it's not as fun.
But he's stolen the identity of the Alpha Kodo character.
Yeah.
And this is where they introduced the sunglass joke.
Yeah.
Which is such a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Oh, really is.
Just like leaving each other's sunglasses.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because even later on, when he wrecks the car, the stolen FBI car, and he leaves the sunglasses on the steering wheel, and Charles Grodin asks, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, it's just a private joke between me and."
It's an in-joke.
Yeah.
Which is it's a weird thing to say because it's what a normal person would say.
Yeah.
But in the movie, it seemed weird to me. I don't know. But it was good. It was a good line.
It has a really weird tone because I never just laugh out loud. Like I'll smile and grin through the movie, but I find this movie like so incredibly dark and very close to even just being a drama.
Really?
In terms of the humor, I really do. I know it sounds odd.
No. I agree.
I know it's a comedy,
Yeah.
but it's very. I don't find.
Well, it's not a like ha 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 ha.
No,
comedy.
not at all.
Oh,
It's very humorous,
I was ha ha ha.
I actually
It's
laughed
a real
number of times by
download,
myself
too.
last night.
Like this passes Mark Kermode's 5 laugh test.
Oh, okay. Is that a test?
Yeah, Mark Kermode's got this thing where at the BBC, he considers it a successful comedy if you can make him laugh 5 times.
Oh,
That seems pretty reasonable.
I'd say I probably laughed.
I could five times in that easily.
I laughed at least 5 times.
And honestly, it's a good. Well, I agree with Alex though, because the comedy is character based.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily
great
like
dialogue.
singers, but it's
And great dialogue and banter, like because it has a banter feel.
Yeah.
You feel like everybody's bantering all the time.
But it's not at all like a movie with jokes per se. I find this movie's like, I mean, you could say it's about any film, but just if they had directed it even as it wasn't that far off from just being a dark drama.
I agree.
Sure,
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
I think when I saw it the first time in the theater, I think that's the takeaway I got from it. And so that's why I probably didn't enjoy it as much as I did watching it last
Or it wasn't as memorable either, right?
So, but I remember liking it, but I thought it was just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Dylan's enthusiasm for it, but there's parts where you're like, and then the sunglasses, like you're just.
I think the sunglasses.
No, I'm
hilarious.
I'm not putting that down at all. But it's just the way you're describing it. I don't know. It just feels like you're describing a much lighter movie than what I saw.
It's a pretty.
But I find this movie very.
But this time watching it, because it's been a while since I've seen it, and I usually just think of it as a comedy. But this time, especially because Robin was watching it, and it's like, oh right, there's way more action in this than I remember. There's more
car chases.
Poignant. There's like a lot more poignant.
It was longer than
moments.
I remembered too.
Way long. It's too long,
it's,
actually. I think. But
it's a little.
2 hours and 6 minutes.
It flies by. I suppose they could have lost a couple of scenes, but
there's a couple they could have done with it, but it's fine.
But I guess just the way you were taught about the scene, like, or about that particular joke, whatever the sunglasses.
Well,
it sounded a lot more lighter. Like you're appreciating a much lighter film. I don't know.
I agree with you.
But it's funny. I like that little game going on between them.
I like that, and it's a lot of the humor. I'm just now realizing is in the performances.
Mm-hmm.
That little
You just
bit,
realize
like
it's now?
when they're having the I'm thinking of the moments that I really laugh at aren't necessarily funny on paper.
Right.
That whole "you lied to me first" conversation that they have,
It's
like
funny.
it's largely because of their performances. Yeah. They're both so committed to this idiotic argument.
And then Grodin getting the last little jab.
But you lied to me first.
Like two kids.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's like it's the Odd Couple with guns.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a really good formula. I wish they made more movies like this.
They do make a lot of movies like this, but most of them don't work very well. One, because the script writing is not good, but they don't have the chemistry. The two leads, like those two guys work so well together.
It's totally no, but this is like one of the oldest traditions. It's like the Crosby Hope Road movies, like the buddy road trip, and they just rub each other.
Well, when I was reading about just the background stuff today, the studios and even like the critics were like, another one of these buddy cop movie, blah blah blah. But then, for the most part, most of the people really liked it.
Yeah,
I'm one of them.
It's formula, but it's an old tried and true.
Oh, it's yeah. I have nothing but praise.
I don't know if you guys
movie.
I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but there's a lot of people smoking cigarettes in this movie.
Oh yeah,
and eating at the same time.
1988.
That's smoking everywhere, which I always loved seeing that in movies, like at restaurants, on planes.
Yeah,
like
people go to the bathroom to have a smoke.
No, I just like sit there. Do you want smoking? There's that line when John Ashton's character is going to buy a plane ticket. He's smoking right on in front of the woman or the guy. And it's like, do you want smoking or not smoking? What do you think?
Take a wild guess.
That's why I always wait for the airplane joke from the movie Airplane when they smoking or non-smoking, smoking, and you give them the smoking ticket.
That's
that's my favorite reference to smoking in a movie ever.
Wow.
And that's another good running joke. Is just that Alonzo Mosley keeps stealing Marv's cigarettes.
No,
and then at the end, he's like, "Watch your cigarettes around this guy, Jack." I mean, just everybody has good moments.
Yeah. There's one really funny line. I think when they're on the airplane, and there's a kid watching them.
I love it.
Yeah, and they're talking about I can't remember.
You mean where he's doctoring?
No, that's De Niro doctoring his
committing fraud.
Yeah. No, but there's a line that Charles Grodin, when he says to a kid, he said, "Aren't you like a criminal?" And he goes, "I'm just a white collar criminal."
Because that's his ex-wife.
Is that what that is?
You don't look like a criminal.
That's
I'm white collar.
Another
kid's gonna know what that is.
You brought up earlier how De Niro shows up asking for money and it goes so wrong, like that scene, and to add on top of everything else, like he's all over the news as a fugitive, and he's bringing this fellow criminal to this wanted criminal who's being shot at to the house where the kids are and stuff.
Kids and the cop lives there.
Yeah, and the cop lives there. It's just such a
Yeah, and then he slags him off.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any bribe money for your husband. Get out of my house, asshole ex-husband.
But then it ends on a really nice little bit with the daughter coming out and giving. Wanted to give De Niro all of her money. She said babysitting money.
And it always that scene always it does take me out of the movie, just because it's not the back and forth banter. It's not exploding cars or whatever. It really is just this sweet little oasis in the middle of all the chaos.
Yeah, which is
but I'm always like, God, I really hope he writes her a letter or something. I always have. I fill in like how this father-daughter relationship should go. I don't know. This movie just I don't know. I kind of want there to be a sequel just so I could see him. So I could see him open his coffee shop and repair the relationship with his daughter.
Still wait for that sequel
because it's been 9 years. Oh well, again, like Josie was saying, I think they actually did. Yeah, there was a TV movie. That was a sequel to Midnight Run, and then they tried to make a series.
But was he running a coffee shop in the series?
No, he was still. He was. I think it was a prequel. It was like Temple of Doom. It was like when he was in Bounty Hunter School or something. I don't know.
By the way, they wanted badly to make one of the networks wanted to do a Beverly Hills Cop series, and offered Eddie Murphy a lot of money to go back to.
I heard about this.
He was like,
I heard he was going to do it, and I was very disappointed.
Just But that was but I mean literally in the 80s. It wasn't like
No, I mean recently I've heard of there being a Beverly Hills. Although
No, but I mean, a TV
the
series.
They are
Lethal
doing
Weapon
it.
series wasn't bad though. I don't know if you ever saw the
I
Lethal
heard
Weapon series.
it was good, but I never saw it.
It's I think it's better than the movies. But anyway,
Not the first one.
well, actually,
I love the first one.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay with Lethal Weapon.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know how it holds up.
Lethal
to be
Weapon
honest.
kind of killed the buddy cop franchise
Well,
genre.
Formula? No, God, no. They kept going.
They're still
They
making
beat
them, right?
that to
Bad
death.
cop, bad cop.
They beat it to death.
Bond cop, bad cop.
They keep going.
Leave it to the guy from Nova Scotia to think that was a hit.
Oh, it was
It was a
Canada.
Canadian hit.
I actually really like Bond cop, bad cop.
There's a sequel.
Just talking about one of
There's
the
a
million
sequel, Bond
examples
Cop,
of-
Bad Cop 2.
Remember?
I-
It's right.
it was
Your
also
all-time
a-
favorite, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
That's well, we
The
won't
nice
we won't get into
guys.
my feelings on Shane Black.
Buddy.
Um,
Doesn't matter on their own.
No, but after like the fourth Lethal Weapon, everybody's just kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
like, can we move
They
on
were-
to
they were
something else?
Milking
Yeah.
that too much. Yeah.
Let's
I
move,
watched
let's move on to
the
Will
fourth.
Ferrell
That's with
comedies.
Jet Li, right?
Well, in the fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else is there to talk about with
Oh, there's a
Midnight Run.
Midnight Run.
I guess that's
There's
it.
lots.
Or Charles Grodin for that matter. Because I always, for some reason, even when as big a fan of this movie as I am, I tend to think of like, Charles Grodin, because he went and he made like Beethoven after this.
Well,
Oh, I totally tuned out from those things.
Yeah.
And he also didn't make a movie for like 12 years.
I saw him.
If you look on the IMDb thing, for after the Beethoven movies, he didn't make another film until the 2000s.
Yeah, he doesn't have like a stellar resume for films.
He's got like a few really good movies,
Like, I think this
and
movie,
he was awesome on David Letterman.
Yeah,
this movie could have
Yeah, I
been a
love
big
Vince
hit,
Letterman
but the
appearances.
stumbling block was having Charles Grodin. Even though that's not a slam of his performance, I just
No.
mean, I mean, you'll never know. But just when you,
It's-
I guess it's kind of an obvious thing to say. But when you think back, like it had Cher
Yeah.
or Robin Williams been in it, I'm not saying they would have been better or whatever. I could see this could have been like a huge hit.
it did okay.
What
It
era?
did okay, but Grodin,
Well, it's one of his best roles, actually.
yeah, but
Oh,
here,
it's probably
well,
it's probably his best.
Well,
one.
if
I
you think
haven't
of-
seen too much Grodin. I've seen Grodin, but not.
You
it's
can
not
never
like I
see
can
too
really
much
judge him
Grodin.
on all his roles. But
Our Great
'Cause there's
Kid is
been-
good.
there's
should
been
watch Our
times-
Great Kid.
We don't have that dude.
when I can't tell
No,
if
we
he's
don't.
just really good at annoying or if he's just totally annoying.
I forgot he was in Rosemary's Baby. I think it
He
just,
was,
like,
yeah.
his
Yeah,
first
he didn't
movie.
have
I like
a
that
huge
one.
role.
But I don't know
No,
why.
he's right.
Abraham Saperstein.
But every time I watch Midnight Run, I don't know why. When I'm not watching Midnight Run, in the rare times that I'm not watching this movie, I don't know why I think that about Charles Grodin. It's probably just because of those fucking Beethoven movies where I'm like, ugh, that guy.
He
And he sure
appeared-
did luck out with Midnight Run. But every time I watch it, he's great. I mean,
He's in the 70s King Kong too. He's
That's
like the
right,
explorer guy. But he, around the time of the Beethoven movies, I saw him on an episode of Letterman, Charles Grodin. And
Who?
Letterman was really riding Charles Grodin about, hey, it's the guy in those Beethoven movies. And Grodin came on and basically kept winning out in every little, like he was
Yeah.
kind of like a
yeah, he's
flip out.
terrific on Letterman.
Yeah, he's good. Actually, I watched a clip of him on Carson this afternoon, and he's just so good at that deadpan kind of put down.
I
And
used to tape his appearances if I was working, because I worked in a bar, and I would tape his appearances on Letterman or
They were always
or
good.
Carson when he
Yeah.
was on.
He was also in a much hyped but flop Farrah Fawcett movie called Sunburn.
That's correct.
About
I saw
insurance
Sunburn.
fraud.
I saw Sunburn.
you shot somebody.
Well, you know,
I've never seen Sunburn.
It's terrible.
he was in
I thought it was terrible when I was a teenager and loved Farrah Fawcett. I still thought it was
I
terrible.
just remember
it's gonna be
ads
even
for
worse now.
That was too young.
even the title of that is terrible.
Because
Sunburn.
nobody likes sunburns,
It was like a cheesy summer
especially being a redhead. You
teen
must even hate
blah
it even
blah
more.
comedy.
It's,
but where there
deadly.
they didn't focus on the teens hardly, and it was just dull and boring.
So that's Sunburn.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
see the
it's
sequel
probably
is-
not worth seeing. I don't
Sequel is
think.
Peeling,
Peeling, yeah.
and then the next one is
Skin cancer.
Melanoma.
Yeah, well,
They got darker as the series went on.
Odd-shaped
Yeah.
mole.
Yeah.
pustules.
Yeah, but I don't know. He turns up in things, and he's always good. He's in While We're Young, which is a movie that I already really like. And
Is that the one we're talking about the other day?
Yeah, the Noah Baumbach.
That's
Yeah.
a great little film.
it's
actually.
really, really good.
Yeah.
And then he was on, I want to say Curb Your Enthusiasm, but I don't think that's
No.
it. No, it was Gervais. No, not Gervais. Louis. God.
Louis.
He was on Louis.
Which
He was good on Louis.
which asshole comedian am I trying to think of?
Hmm.
Right, it's
Louis
Louis.
CK.
Anyway,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, there's just I don't know. There's not much to talk about plot wise with this movie because
Yeah, but there's
No,
something.
it's
We're talking
simple.
about the nice little funny moments in it.
Yeah.
One that I remembered was that I really like when they're in the restaurant and they're really hungry and they're there for
Oh,
breakfast.
yeah.
And the waitress is saying what the special of the day is.
chorizo and eggs.
Chorizo, and he's like, "What's that?" It's a Mexican sausage, and he's like, "I want chorizo."
It's funny you brought
Me
that
too.
up.
Yeah.
Because today I had to run an errand. I had to go this further east van on the bus
Oh,
and coming back.
Heart
just
of darkness.
I know.
the connecting bus I had to get back to our
Joy
neighborhood.
Station.
By complete
Darkness.
coincidence,
Yeah,
was
he had to
in
go
front of-
murder Kurtz over there.
it was by complete coincidence, the bus stopped in front of Duffin's, the donut
Nice.
sandwich place. I went in there because I was actually
Sure,
kinda hungry.
coincidence.
No, it was. And I went in there. I hadn't been in there in years. And I went in there and I looked at the sandwich menu and there was a chorizo and egg sandwich. So I got it because of this movie.
Right. Yeah.
This movie, I didn't intend it, but I saw it there on the menu. It
Because
was like a
Midnight
meal.
Runs sold a chorizo sandwich.
Yeah, right. Sold a chorizo sandwich
How was
based
it?
on what Charles Grodin said today. And I got it home. I ate it at home and it was absolutely
They
delicious.
should
You need it on
rename
the
that
bus?
sandwich the Grodin.
No, I didn't eat it.
Yeah, there you go. The Charles Grodin.
They didn't have
Yeah.
picnic tables.
Or do you have to be Jewish to get a sandwich named
I
after
got
you?
a delicious donut too.
I don't think
Wow.
so.
That's good. That's a good story.
I'm glad to know Duffins
Plug
is
and
still
Duffins.
is still alive and kicking, and Charles Grodin's dead.
Duffin's, but I was inspired.
I don't know.
Literally-
That came out really weird.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
it did.
like
Yeah, it's
Like
kind of
they're-
bitter. That,
even while
It's
watching
like
the movie, it
Duffin's
wasn't
donut
like
won over that war.
it wasn't. I'm gonna go get a chorizo and egg
yeah.
Chorizo.
food now or something like that. And just by coincidence, I see on the menu there chorizo and egg. So I got
You keep saying
chorizo.
chorizo.
Because you know why? Because he
Chorizo.
wanted Cher to be in this movie.
Oh, I thought it was. We have a customer
Share.
who has a similar name to the word chorizo, and I think you're kind of mixing the two up.
Is that the woman that ran for mayor? Is that what
Yes.
we're talking
Yeah.
about?
I don't want to name names,
No.
but a local eccentric. We'll
Yeah.
just
Well,
say that.
That's why it's in the script. Yeah, because they kept saying Charles Grodin, and they're like, but I want shares. Wait a minute. What was
Cher
it?
Weeze.
Chorizo?
Weeze,
But I
oh.
want share though. I don't know. What
They drove a long way for a dead
long
end
way.
there.
Dead end there, I'll tell you.
Well, we should try.
Chorizo.
But,
But
yeah,
like, there's so many. I mean, I first noticed it with the kid on the plane, and I always think of that kid, as having just like the awesomest thing.
Mhm.
Like I was a kid next to Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
and I have one line where it looks fine to me, and there's this weird performances from a lot of the clerks and stuff. Like when later in the movie when Jack is dead, like he's lost Charles Grodin and he's been bested by Marvin.
Which happens all the time in this movie. You
Yeah.
know, every time it happens, like, how are they going to get out of this? How is he going to get him back? Like, how is this going to work out? It always does.
It does.
Like the only one that did not work for me is when they came off the bus and all the mob snipers were waiting, and then 100,000 cops show up,
Well,
and then
you still open fire.
and then you still have a fire, but
Yeah.
then miss everybody by like a lot. Like
Yeah.
these snipers wouldn't have got them anyways because they're terrible shots.
I do. Yeah, that
and,
is.
then, and then they escape, and nobody notices that they escape until it's too late. I don't know. That's one of those little things, the little plot contrivances didn't work for me in this movie, but very small things. To pick apart, so.
That one always does kind of stick out. No, but
And the plane.
there's another character.
yeah, that's
the,
pointless.
the guy in the
Okay,
diner.
so he's not
The guy in the
scared.
diner who lights his cigarette when Jack goes into the diner at the end.
Mhm.
That guy's somebody. I can't remember.
So which say that again?
I'm talking about all the weird little secondary characters
Yeah.
who only have like one line.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about the chorizo and eggs lady, and she gives this really naturalistic performance where she's describing the chorizo and eggs,
Yeah.
where you think, is this an actual waiter? Like I don't, are these actual actors, or did they actually find some local character and just give them a
Well,
line?
you
Like
know-
like that kid.
You do know that a lot of actors work as waitstaff,
As servers, yes.
servers, and
But-
probably could channel that pretty well.
But a lot of actors would also have one line with De Niro and Grodin, and
Be so starstruck around Charles Grodin that
Yeah.
you forget your
Well,
I
think-
would. He was
I-
in the Great Muppet Caper. Come on.
I'm pretty sure Martin Brest, even if it was a seasoned actress, made her do a lot of takes.
Well, apparently he did.
Yeah, he was
He's like a
he was
Stanley
kind of
Kubrick
famous
type.
for that kind. He
Unless
was
he just
like one
hated
of those
Jack
kind of guys.
Nicotto, made him do
He
all
just-
sorts of takes.
I think I saw him, or not him, but maybe I read about it or something somewhere, some film journal, where he said something about like it's all in the editing. you know, and that made me think, like, you know, this is one of these people who does a lot of different takes,
Right.
because you get a different flow
Yeah.
when you have, like, I bet you there's versions of some of those jokes and some of those bits that that don't hit
Yeah.
because they just didn't have that oomph on that, like,
Right.
48th take.
Well, how do you maintain that doing it so
Right.
much? Like,
Yeah.
like Kubrick was obviously,
And you know,
famous for
like
too.
that makes it a big budget film, because one of the most expensive things making films when this film was made,
is
Film.
Film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that stuff's, like, you know, like,
It's expensive.
Yeah.
really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
and then
So
it
high
just-
shooting ratio.
Well, and there's a high shooting ratio, but the editing, this is something I wanted to mention about the film, is that the editing, like, for a film that's what'd you say it was?
2 hours and 6 minutes.
It goes by pretty quick, in my opinion. Like, sure, I'm sure there's some things you could cut and trim and whatever if you really wanted to get a more svelte picture. But
Well, that's
I feel like it goes by quickly.
You say svelte?
Yeah. It's a word I've been throwing into my vocabulary more.
Svelte
recently.
is great. I mean,
Yeah.
usually I go for shorter or streamlined, concise, but svelte is even that's poetic.
Yeah, well, because if you want to you could make your film shorter. It's not terribly glamorous, is it?
No.
But you want to make your film svelte. It's not that it's shorter. It's that it goes by quicker and nicer.
and it's better dressed.
Petite.
It's more pleasing to look at in its form.
And it's sveltness.
Yeah.
Its feltness
No.
than
Yeah.
something that's not svelte.
It's almost up there with like quaint. Anyway, yeah.
But Alex, I was just mentioning that plane scene where he
Yeah.
steals the airplane. Totally pointless scene. That whole bit, like I liked it, but it didn't need to be in the movie.
I
Like,
think
it didn't.
I-
It didn't. It didn't
they
add
should have
anything.
taken flight. That would have been more interesting. Like he gets in the plane and
Yeah.
Grodin flies for a while, and then just like grounding and being like, "You lied to me," and then stealing the truck.
Yeah,
like that
'cause
was,
it's like in Silver Streak. Just
This
it's always a biplane.
the
in
movies.
these movies.
Movies are similar in a lot of ways.
very similar.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like this movie better than Silver Streak, and I like Silver Streak.
I like it a lot more than Silver
I
Streak.
preferred Silver Streak.
I do also really like Silver Street. I've never really thought to compare them. I've definitely watched Midnight Run more times.
Yeah.
But that's probably till I'd kind of forgotten about Silver Streak until we got the DVD when we first opened,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, yeah, this movie.
Did you watch it again?
I did right away, actually, because I bought the movie at Charlie's for
Thanks.
the store, because I was like, oh, we don't have this, and I forgot. I loved this when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I
me
saw
too.
it. I saw it at the drive-in.
Yeah, I saw
Those
with
it
two
my,
are too.
with my in the back of my mom
That
was
was the
dating
best.
this guy who had a big Cadillac, and it had
Sure
the
he did.
round back in the seats, like it was rounded.
Oh,
Really?
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and they sat in the front.
Spaceship.
They brought me. I don't know why they brought me to the
You're
drive-in,
sitting in the wrong seats.
Yeah.
right?
You should be
and
up front.
so I'm sitting in the back, and I they thought I would fall asleep or something, I guess.
Were they
But
making out while you
I
were
was-
watching the movie?
no, because I was watching the movie, and they were felt weird that I was up watching the movie.
Still
But
asleep.
I
You're still
they
awake,
really
still awake.
misjudged how I like to watch movies.
Yeah. Or
You
much
know.
little kids like Gene Wilder. Or appreciate homages to Hitchcock.
Yeah,
I'm
No.
sure that's what you were. You're like, this is just like Hitchcock.
Wait,
I was not that sort of.
Were you
movie
watching
kid.
Body Double?
I was just at that time. I was just a kid who liked movies. I didn't
You
become a
still
film.
are.
I didn't become a film snob until university.
There you go.
When I became a film student accidentally,
Yes.
because
But you were
I
studying.
had a
they
snob
screwed
period.
up. They screwed up my. I went to the University of Manitoba, and they screwed up my registration, which was on punch cards back then. Right, they had those little cards with the holes in them.
I remember those.
Yeah. So anyway, apparently they entered in half of my stuff, and then didn't enter the rest of my choices for classes.
Wow.
So when I got there, I had to register late because they screwed up, and I saw I couldn't take a lot of the things I'd wanted to take, which were history and English and stuff. There was a
Fancy.
film class, and I was like, I didn't even notice this. Oh, and one of your classes, you just watch a movie,
Yeah.
and then the other class, you
Hmm.
talk about the movie.
Hmm.
And then you write some papers about them, like English. Oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And within a couple of films, the first one being City Lights, I think we watched, I was like, okay, this is my major. And
The Power of Chaplin.
the power of Chaplin and Keaton and all we watched a lot of early films. Like the most modern film we saw early on, and that was what's his name's last film, Truffaut's last film with
I don't know. I only know like
Jacqueline Bisset.
Fahrenheit 450.
No, that's in the 60s. With Jacqueline Bisset and Day for Night.
Day for Night, right?
Day for Night.
Something like 76 or something like that.
No, it's like 1982.
Is that it?
Yeah, 83.
I took film class in grade 12, but we did thinking it would be fun.
Yeah.
But
To watch Truffaut.
no, then we had but then and so I would get baked to go to class, and then he puts on like Koyaanisqatsi.
Oh God.
And it's just like, what? I think it was a punishment for showing up high.
But that would have been cool.
Like it was gonna be Cheech and Chong or something. He saw that we were all really
it was
stoned.
gonna be Cheech and Chong.
So he puts on or like Terminator, but it says like, oh, we're gonna watch all of those Koyaanisqatsi films, and then you're gonna tell me in detail like why it's significant and the techniques and all that. And we had to watch
who was your teacher?
You would have hated it. It was a Jack Lemmon movie. Was it called Missing?
I like that movie.
It is, but when you're 17, it's just like
Yeah.
You're probably like, what's going on?
God.
It's fairly complicated. You got to know a little bit of history about the subject matter too.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I saw Missing only once. I saw it
and then
on TV when I was a teenager. I just happened to watch it on like Sunday afternoon when I was home, and it brought tears to my eyes. And not because I knew all the history and stuff, but it's just basically, regardless even of the political context, which of course is important to that movie, it's just like the guy goes missing and the family is so heartbroken. It's so
this is
we should get back
rare film that I haven't seen. But
check it out. It's great.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
Wrap it up.
I'm sidetracked.
We're taking that break.
You're fishing? Oh, it's break time.
Reel it back.
We do take a break.
Yeah, I was about to say we should get back to Midnight Run.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But honestly, it's only myself
sure.
that like I'm going to be editing this one. So
It's not gonna be a long one, so it'll be all right.
probably not.
No.
But I had as a film. Is it still recording? But just as a film, we're like break. I don't know.
We're not on a break.
Although are we on break? No.
Wait, we're at the 45-minute mark.
I feel like I'm in an episode
You guys
of Friends or
making
something.
the
You guys want to take 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's take 5 minutes.
Okay, now talk about non-midnight run stuff.
I was just going to say,
in the 5
as
minutes,
a student, I had a snob.
We all did. I mean, we probably all still do compared to normal people.
Oh, definitely compared to normal
Like
people.
we're not sitting here talking about Adam McKay movies.
There's a lot of people I can't have conversations with about movies because I'm too much of a snob and I will make them feel bad.
Yeah, they just love Adam Sandler.
What's that?
Although I do like
I
Adam
was
Sandler.
asking if you're going to go smoke more, but maybe I'll just wait till after the break.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
As long as you remain conversational.
Yeah, I gotta have a wee.
Don't get catatonic. This is for everybody. I was looking at you, but it was for everyone.
Let's get rock.
Whew. I thought I'd have more to say about this movie. I got to be honest. But it's just like after you say I love this fucking movie and Charles Grodin's the best, and then it's like, where do you go from there? You know.
But normally it's longer because we really flog the plot points, and we're not doing it this week.
Yeah.
And then he gets here, and then he meets this guy. Like normally we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
And since we're not, it's.
Well,
this one's more of a discussion.
I mean, I think Greg pointed out that it does kind of belabors the podcast.
It does. I think I prefer discussions. I don't like dragging.
I still think you guys should make a list of talking points.
I did. I've got a sheet of paper right here. But the talking points are, wasn't it great when you said this?
Did you share it?
Huh?
Did you share your talking points?
I've already gone through them.
The only list I made today thinking about this was I picked 2 movies for my double bill thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. That was all I did.
You know, Midnight Run's not even in the top 150 most F-bombs.
You gotta be kidding me.
Well, because it's mostly Dennis Farina.
It's The Wolf of Wall Street is the first. There's 2 movies that are the top.
Well, Wolf of Wall Street's 4 hours long.
They're about swearing. So the first actual movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Uncut Gems is this.
I haven't.
Gems, eh?
I still haven't seen it.
It's all right.
Everyone goes on about Good Time, and I hated it so much.
Oh, I like
that
Good
I
Time
just
a lot.
didn't bother with
Wolf of
Uncut Gems.
Wall Street also is in the top 5 of the most
Overrated movies. Oh,
coming out of somebody's mouth.
I love that movie.
Like
Me too.
the most F-bombs and the most fucking general like obscenities.
That's
like to
the
watch
best
that
Scorsese like the past 20
Oh, I
years.
agree. I love it. It's amazing.
I try with that one.
I like to watch it again.
I
actually.
just Anyway,
I love
like-
to see how the other half lives, and I love the fact that it's a totally seductive look in a way, a lifestyle that I wouldn't pull that stuff, but I could see it's like Goodfellas. You can
Seductive
get
and
sucked
repulsive
down.
at the same time.
Of course, but it's like Goodfellas. It totally explains. Like I'm not at all interested in being a gangster. I'm not gangster material, but I could totally see how certain personalities are drawn to it. It's almost like this license. I'm not at all approving of what any of these people are doing.
Long, man. The Wolf of Wall Street is.
It went by.
It's
like
about
nothing.
45, at least 45 minutes too long.
Same with the Irishman. I really liked it. I know it was a long.
The Irishman, I didn't really like too much.
I liked it a lot.
What I would really love to have seen, I've said this before, is just a straight up Hoffa movie between De Niro and Pacino, because I don't really remember anything other than the Jimmy Hoffa stuff, and I really was into that stuff, but the rest bored me.
The problem I have with Irishman is all the de-aging stuff, because they make them look so weird.
It's laugh out loud funny.
Yeah, especially
they did it
when he curbs that guy, and I'm just like. He's like huffing and puffing, shows up on a walker.
But seriously,
and
I know.
Then when they say that he's 32, he's like, "You're a young man. You're 32." And
I'm
just
sorry,
like,
but De Niro
that is not a 32-year-old torso.
With all due respect to De Niro, like the great, it's not like there aren't people who look like him. Like they did it in Bronx Tale.
Yeah, they should have got someone like
you could totally get a young man or something. Do an open casting call.
I am
Whoever.
a big fan of that kind of movie where they have like a known actor as the young, have the young version of the De Niro or whoever.
Well, you know what? I thought they did well was that Beach Boys movie.
I was about to say Love and Mercy did it well.
Yeah, with Paul Dano.
It
and
might
John
have
Cusack.
issues with Cusack.
Nah, he was okay. I like that.
But I bought them as being the same person.
Oh, Robin Williams in What Dreams May Come, when he plays the younger self in the boat.
Oh, I don't remember. I've seen the movie. I don't remember. Is it pretty bad?
I didn't Yeah,
just really bad makeup, and he's still, the heavy chest,
right? All the hair,
and it's like, it's just like I couldn't stop laughing because it was just like,
yeah,
that's not.
I actually kind of like the artistry of that movie a little bit, but
it looks cool.
Yeah.
The best is in one of the worst movies I've ever seen is that fucking Bobby Darin movie with Kevin Spacey.
Oh God, is that? That's so
I used to go
something,
see whatever was
something
playing at the Norm
something?
Theater at UBC. It was like $2 for a movie. And this, you probably heard me talk about this before, but like, fucking, it's like, first of all, he's like 50 when he made the movie, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's Ed Sullivan, like, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Darin,
Yeah.
And then it cuts to like Kevin Spacey in black and white. Kevin Spacey with this wig, and he's singing like "Splish Splash, I was taking a bath," and then it cuts to like 14-year-old girls like, ah! like they're going crazy, and it's like clearly, like American Beauty aged.
Yeah,
Kevin Spacey.
I got away with it because Bobby Darin was an older looking guy, but it didn't work at all.
I don't think he got away with it.
No. I'm not even saying he did. I'm just saying I could, like, when you actually see a much older looking guy, but I don't think Kevin Spacey pulled it off. And then, like, he's singing to the 14-year-old girls, the splish splash, taking a bath, and then he suddenly appears in the shower. I can't figure it out.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath, and also like, splish power, I was taking a shower.
No one says splish power.
After an hour, I was taking a shower. Oh, on a Saturday night.
That's when they
infamous
censored it
American
for
Beauty.
TV.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the worst aging scene is Depp in Blow when he plays.
I've seen the movie. I don't
his
remember.
older self.
It's the all. Like,
Oh,
the fake,
yeah,
all
often
man
when
I
people
makeup.
play
really like
older,
that
it's terrible.
movie, but that took me out of it. As like, oh my god.
For me,
really
the
bad.
greatest older performance, not that I'm saying anything too shocking here, but that is Brando in Godfather. He was like 46, and he plays like
He played it well.
the patriarch and grandfather, completely convincing.
Yeah.
Dick Smith makeup.
Oh yeah, he looks
convincing.
older there than he does in Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
I couldn't actually believe it. Like when I first got into The Godfather in my
What's with
teens,
the
I couldn't
chin?
believe. I only
The
found
chin
out a couple
kinda
years after watching how relatively young
My chin?
Yeah.
Brando was. I
Brando's
just assumed,
chin.
old guy
Well, that's the
Brando.
thing because he was in the 50s. He was an actor in the
So good.
50s, but he was a kid.
Yeah.
Did you
Right,
see?
he's young.
Did you see Meg?
Yes, I did. I'm one of the few people who has a lot of good things to say about that.
I thought it was all right, but there's a scene when they're.
I haven't seen it.
They say to Gary Oldman's Mank, "You're only like 38 or 42." He's clearly almost 70.
Well, he's a raging alcoholic with a broken leg.
By the way,
Yeah.
have any of you ever seen that mega flop from the 90s, Wyatt Earp?
I have.
Because it's okay in some parts, but Kevin Costner tries to play a much younger
that's true,
version of himself in that movie too.
Well,
it's
like,
one of the worst kind of.
Well,
it's like
for about 3 hours.
What does this have to do with Midnight Run?
It's like a Better Call Saul. It's a
yeah.
great show, but Bob Odenkirk's character is supposed to be younger because it takes place before Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
That's all they do. They just sort of part his hair and flop it over his little head. But he looks like old.
They give him a newer wig.
Yeah, he's got a nicer
It's so
wig.
funny.
An episode of Miami
It's a great
Vice,
show.
there was in the 80s the obligatory, Vietnam experience. Like someone had to be a Vietnam vet. And
Of course.
revealed Crockett is a Vietnam vet. And Don Johnson directed the episode. All he did to play the younger self, as they shot the scenes later, he actually shaved and then wore a helmet to hide his 80s poof on. Like in all the scenes, the flashbacks.
He's always wearing a helmet.
He's wearing a helmet. He's like this going.
He's in the
he has
shower.
a really young, and he's shaving. He wasn't in the shower, but
It's-
Spacey. And
yeah, he's getting married. He's delivering his first child. Still wearing the fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we're getting back to the show. Or are we
Back
gonna
to Midnight Run.
So what do we have left to talk about this week?
One thing I did notice again that I never really paid that much attention to is the car stunts.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of crashed cars,
especially at the end when they have like a lot of
It's the Swedish Chef.
It's a lot of cop cars, like and helicopter chasing the one.
Yeah,
car.
it was getting a little Blues Brothers.
It's getting a little Blues Brothers.
It's like it has a Thelma and Louise moment
Yeah.
where they stop in the middle of the road, and then all of a sudden it goes into the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
And I always love seeing cop cars fucking cannonball running it. Like,
well, I also
take that, copper.
I like that era of cop cars, the 70s and 80s American cop cars.
Where you stick the light to the top. It always reminds me of Kojak.
I love it when they do that, when they put the light on top.
Well, there's one when the Nero steals the car and he's just hanging. He doesn't know what to do. He's just hanging in it.
Oh, man, but like on the highway, there's good car stunts.
Yeah.
I always love a high-speed chase through like a heavily populated, a very popular highway that is heavily populated. But like weaving, I always love. It's a cliche that I see all the time.
Yeah,
you're behind a rig, and then you try and go into the oncoming traffic, and there's another car coming.
That's actually done pretty well in this one.
Yeah.
But movies like you can like the way they're always set up, like the cars are perfectly spaced out, so you could the speeding car could just like bob and weave in and out of them. Like people don't drive like that ever on the highway.
No.
Try that on the 401.
They're
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're morons.
You say 401?
Yeah.
Oh.
401.
I don't drive, so that's my reference that
the
people
Ontario
go.
highway.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is
Josie knows what she's talking about. Yeah.
I thought that was LA. I thought 401 was LA.
That's Toronto.
No.
Oh, I've never been to LA. I don't know.
I've been to LA. It's nice.
Yeah, I like LA.
If you were wealthy, it would be fucking great.
I bet it would be a cool place to be wealthy.
Spent a few days in Venice Beach. Really liked it.
Yeah,
Surprise!
I
bought flu vogs for $30.
I did the exact thing with the flu bugs. I spent a few days in Venice Beach a few years ago, and it was a blast.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I like the crashing cars.
Yeah, me too.
And I like the blowing up helicopter, and this, just the stunts in general. If you take into account that like falling down the stairs or getting punched in the face is a stunt.
Yeah.
I mean, people get punched. If you were like a doctor of brains.
Right. Oh, I was thinking about it earlier.
Isn't that a Metallica album? Doctor of Brains.
Brain doctor.
No, it's like you can't just punch somebody. You know how hard you have to be knocked unconscious? I was knocked out cold for about 10 seconds once.
Sorry about that.
It was I did drop Forrest Gump and scratch it.
No,
you flew into a rage.
I gave you a medal for that, I thought.
Raging Darren.
And you didn't call the late list when you were supposed to.
I
think it was
what?
a double, kind of whammy.
Yeah, no. Well, that's why you kicked me in the nuts.
Many angry.
The kick in the nuts was for the late list, and then dropping Forrest Gump was
the knockout
he
punch?
cold cocked me.
Darren slapped me once for not putting out the return box.
Life is like a box of concussions. That's what Darren always says. But
you never know. You always know what you're going to get.
You just don't go to sleep.
Life is
But yeah, like it was at a one of these. It was a Surrey high school punk gig
Oh.
in the '90s. So anybody in Surrey in the '90s listening?
I bet my
Listening
wife
through-
was there. She might have knocked you
No, I knocked myself out.
out. Oh,
Because it was stupid. I was looking for my friends in this group outside of the theater. You know, it was like it was a band called the Seamen. I know it's a long story. It's one of these,
don't need to know it.
one of these gigs. Well, there's a kid named Jesse Cadman who got killed,
And it's
and he was
also
in a
nice.
band called the Seamen. Anyway, whatever. It was a fundraiser. But I was standing on top of this I guess like a kind of like a bench, and I didn't realize that there was a low-hanging 2x4 coming down from the roof of the building. And I heard, "Hey, Dylan!" And I turned around and just ran right into it.
Wow.
It was like a pure slapstick, and then I
Wow.
fell off the thing I was standing on, and I knocked myself unconscious. Long story short, I
Too late.
knocked myself unconscious for about 5 seconds, and
Yeah.
that
Wow.
fucking ruined me. But you can't just punch someone
No.
and then be unconscious long enough for you to steal a car and drive away. And this happens like 6 or 7 times.
I've
in
been
this movie.
knocked unconscious
one of-
before as well.
That's
But-
something
What's
that's
that?
something I've always laughed about in movies in general. Though, like
The one punch that knocks someone out.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen it before, but I can't remember what movie it was, but it doesn't work. So the person has to keep punching them.
Yeah.
But I got knocked out playing hockey one time. I got hit from behind, head first into the boards, and the next thing I know, I saw the boards coming. Next thing I know, I'm looking up, and there's a whole bunch of people standing around me. So I was out for a minute or two.
Was it Todd Bertuzzi?
Yeah, yeah. I was.
Did he ruin your hockey career too?
I was 10 years old.
I got knocked out playing street hockey.
Wait a minute.
Street hockey.
Do I have the
Yeah.
right guy?
Yeah.
Bertuzzi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got knocked out playing street hockey. I'm the kid that everyone's been warned about. I got a slap shot in the nuts,
Oh,
and I didn't have on a cup because it was like street hockey with you
because
just
they
gotta
don't,
No,
roll
they
together.
because they don't have
Of course,
anything
I
that
should have
big.
worn one.
And it knocked you out.
It knocked me out, and eyewitness
How big are
accounts
your
say the
nuts?
ball was like stuck between kind of like the thigh pads.
Oh my god!
It was one of those orange hockey balls.
Oh, I've been hit. I've been hit.
And you also had orange hockey balls.
I
I-
sure did.
Yeah, I was playing ball hockey one time, but I was wearing a cup, and I got dude drilled a slap shot at me and hit me right in the cup, and I just collapsed. And I was laying on the rink.
Yeah.
The ball went back to me, and he shot it again, hit me in the back, and I was laying there.
Oh,
And everybody started laughing. The refs were laughing. Both teams were laughing. The goalies were laughing.
That's what you
Everyone
get.
was laughing at me. Yeah,
I got hit in the balls. I played softball, and I was the only kid on the team who didn't wear a cup because I thought they were ridiculous.
Right.
And I was the only kid on the team who got hit with a pitch. Like they pitched it right into my nuts.
So you got great balls.
Even softer after
Yeah.
that.
I also
Like-
got shot
Like
in
a
the eye
bag of
with a BB gun.
liverwurst.
Sorry, I didn't mean
Anyway,
to say
sorry.
Let's get back to this
that. I got
movie.
shot in the eye in the BB gun.
We're having a
too.
hard
I love
time with
luck.
Okay, so well, no, it's just again, it's once you establish that you love the movie,
Yeah.
all tension is lost. The listener is,
Yeah.
there's no conflict.
Well, I didn't love the movie.
Well, no, but you liked it.
liked
I
it.
think you liked it
Yeah.
anyway. If you
I didn't love it. It's too long, and I still can't decide if I dislike Charles Grodin because he's given a really good performance as a dislikable person, or
not
it's just because I
dislikable at
don't
all.
like Charles Grodin.
he's the good guy. He's like the only
I'm
good
not
guy in the
complaining
entire
about the
movie.
character. I'm talking about his performance.
There is a moment I noticed when I was rewatching it this afternoon where they're on the train and they're talking about chicken wings, and of
Mhm.
course we all eat tomato chicken wings. Everyone in this room is guilty of
I
that.
ate some last night.
So did I. And arterial sclerosis and all this whole thing, and then they get up, and Jack pays the bill, but he only leaves like a 12% tip,
13%.
13%. But Charles Grodin, it's such a great performance because he's still talking to Jack, but he's distracted while he's doing the math,
Yeah.
and it's in the script. He's not really doing the math or whatever, but it's just this little detail that Grodin brought to it that just makes it so much richer and more
It does.
realistic.
Yeah.
And also he's on the run from the mob. He's got all the problems in the world.
Yeah.
And he still takes the time to be
Chastised.
concerned about the server.
Yeah.
It's like,
But again,
Tell
the
them they
film where
survive
it's
on these tips.
going a bit too long, like the airplane scene, like they should have just had De Niro try his card then and find out that his card's been canceled. His card was canceled at that point. I still thought it was an example of the film being a bit too long.
I love that. I love that Marvin
I
cancels his card.
because
didn't love that.
well, because you think Marvin's like a complete doofus, useless.
No, he's a good
but
bounty hunter.
He's got some skills when it comes, like he knows how to find out where he was, where Grodin and De Niro are, and then cancels his credit card to fuck him up.
Is it really that easy to cancel someone else's
I don't know. In the
credit?
movies, it is.
Well, no, but they're bounty hunters, so they both have these.
Well,
I love the relationship between Jack and Marvin because they probably run into each other once a week. They hate each other's guts.
It kind of reminds me of John Cusack and Dan Aykroyd in Grosse Pointe Blank. Same line of work.
Oh yeah,
And
I
they
forgot
run
about
into
Grosse
each
Pointe
other
Blank.
as competitors.
It's not really the same line.
Even though I don't like
they're
that.
assassins,
Yeah,
not bounty hunters.
It's kind of
But,
I like that movie.
I didn't like that movie.
I should rewatch it, I guess. I watched it on VHS back in the day and it didn't do much.
Yeah, same here.
yeah, editing, music,
Yeah, it's all good.
makeup.
Well, the music.
Well, the makeup was
80s
outstanding.
cop show.
Yeah, the music. That's probably the only thing that's really dated about this movie is the
Yakety sax.
the sexy sax and the guitar solo, the wanking guitar solo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's
I got it,
mix.
but I think
I'm kind of nostalgic. Like when you said the wanky guitar solo, I was like, aw.
Yeah.
I used to have a guitar.
I've never liked it then, and I like it even less now.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I understand it.
Yeah.
I just have a I don't know. In this particular case, I'm nostalgic for the dorky music. Kind of works for me.
I just it's something. It's earnest and it's not ironic at all, and it's not trying to be cool. It's just trying to be
my thing
stereotypical.
about this movie is that it's a movie like there's a few movies like this in my life that it's not objectively it's not a great film, but it's a film I can watch almost endlessly.
Yeah.
And I could point out lots of flaws about how long it is or little bits here and there and stuff about, it's not whatever. But for some reason that I think is maybe ephemeral, just who I am, I can watch this movie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yeah.
And I've watched it a bunch of times.
It hums along. It's got good pace.
There's buddy cop movies I probably would argue are better somehow.
It's never boring.
But I this is probably my favorite of those kind of movies where with the two guys on the run.
See, yeah, I mean, I love those kinds of movies. I mean, this and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I couldn't tell you which
The
one. I love
Defiant
more.
ones.
I've only seen that
Please.
Plane, Trains, and Automobiles a couple of times. I really liked it those times I saw it, but
It's still really funny.
Is it? I haven't seen it in quite a while.
It absolutely holds up. I think for Thanksgiving we should probably.
I watched it with my kid
Do
last
Planes,
year. We both, all of us, loved
Nice.
it.
Well, that's good to hear because I you never know.
It's great.
Yeah. haven't seen
Because
something
John
in
Candy
20
and
years,
Steve
no.
Martin, they're so funny together. Such great chemistry, like these two.
And the thing is,
They make it
I'm
work.
trying to because this was my first Robert De Niro movie, and so I've always known
Wow,
that
yeah,
Robert De
that's-
Niro can do comedy. I
I've been
wonder
trying to
what
think
if
about
you'd
that.
only ever seen like Goodfellas and Casino and everything. It would probably be a genuine shock that because like he was fine and analyzed this. He's fine
The
in
War
Meet
on
the
Grandpa.
Parents. I can't even.
But I don't find his some brilliant comic performance that he gives in this movie.
I think it was a pretty
He's
brilliant
good in it,
performance.
but he's just
He's no Rupert Pupkin though.
a dramatic actor.
He's more the
like
straight guy, the
losing
Charles
role.
Grodin's deadpan
Yeah.
humor.
He's definitely got some it's a funnier performance than some of his.
Yeah.
But that's because of the dialogue and the script, right?
And he's
Like,
totally committed to it as well.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it's
it's before he gave up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's before De Niro gave up on doing like whatever, unless he felt like it. Like, there's a few movies after this that he goes, oh yeah, no, I like this story. I'm gonna do the real thing.
Yeah.
And he does it, right? One of those is
Grudge Match.
No.
I kind of like Grudge Match.
Grudge
I
Match
didn't
is
see
okay.
Grudge Match.
Grudge Match is okay,
I wanna watch
but
that.
to me, after this movie, his kind of like next movie that I thought was like a different but good performance from him, from De Niro, was Flawless with Philip Seymour Hoffman,
I didn't see that one.
where Philip Seymour Hoffman plays this old queen who lives upstairs from him, maybe trans. They don't really talk about that in the movie, and it's irrelevant. But it's just he's a very different person, and De Niro's like this conservative old guy who's crusty, and another former cop or something. And
Bounty Hunter.
yeah, that's what he plays. But he gives it that same kind of thing he gives it in this, that in lots of his later movies he doesn't really bother with.
He just shows.
He just sort of shows up and does the thing, and mumbles, does some De Niro stuff that people like, but he doesn't, give you a real De Niro performance, which I think Midnight Run qualifies for. It's one of those canon De Niro movies.
Well, he deals with some funny stuff in this movie, but I don't find him especially funny in the movie.
I do.
I agree. Well, I think he's funny because he is approaching a comedic script with the same level of intensity that he did at Jake LaMotta
he actually hung out with police and bounty hunters, to research the role. But we were talking about this earlier, at like typical De Niro performances, like he says like a lot of his lines twice, and sometimes even more than that, just for emphasis to make it a little more dramatic and almost menacing. Like that's just a sort of a style that he has.
Sorry, I just thought of another moment I love.
Tell us.
When he's in the payphone, and he's like, "I will shoot him in the fucking head and leave him in a ditch." And then he looks at Charles Grodin and he just goes like, shakes his head like, "No."
I actually laughed out loud when I was watching that. I thought I might have woken up my wife or something because she was already in bed. And that was really funny.
Anytime someone
gets... that's perfect comic line delivery.
Every character hates every other character in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarkable you could have a screenplay where just everybody hates everybody.
The sequel is actually just Dennis Farina stabbing everyone with a pencil.
Just going around the number 2 pencil. Oh, that's what. There was something about. Oh yeah, I mean, where the movie kind of loses me is the big plan at the end at the airport. I just don't believe that a mob boss.
Yeah.
And a bunch of them would just. Everyone's just waving guns around.
Yeah.
It's like I remember watching Lethal Weapon, and there's a moment in Lethal Weapon where Australian guy, racist.
Paul
Hogan. Well, maybe he's racist. I don't know. No,
what movie
famous racist Australian.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
That sounds like a game show category.
Yeah, for 200.
Famous racist Australian.
Jeopardy. Rupert Murdoch. Guess again.
Who is Russell Crowe?
Oh no!
Actually, no. I don't know.
Oh, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crocodile Hunter hates alligators. Anyway, no, but Mel Gibson's running through the streets near the end of Lethal Weapon, like with no shirt, with a fucking AK-47. He's like running through the streets of Los Angeles. And people are just like, they have extras who are just like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's just some guy running the street with an AK-47.
No,
like it's so in Midnight Run at the end, it's like Marvin has a gun. Like he grabs the Duke, he grabs Charles Grodin, and he's just got a gun to his ribs. Like in an airport? Like I know it was before 9/11, but
he
come on.
was going to get on the plane with the gun in his carry-on.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably would have checked it or whatever. He probably has some kind of permit.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think
but
Die Hard has the same issue.
Yeah.
Where it's like at the beginning, he's got a loaded gun on a plane. I'm like, I don't care if you are a fucking cop. I don't think you're allowed to get up. Or maybe you could. Maybe they didn't even have metal detectors in the 80s. I don't know.
I remember like I think the first Kill Bill movie. What's her face? Uma Thurman's character is coming back from Japan, and she's got her samurai sword
that's right,
in the seat with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
probably not allowed now.
White privilege.
Yeah,
you can just carry any old sword on any old plane.
Yeah,
when you're Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
That's actually attractiveness privilege.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean Elvis brought a gun to the White House.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of, not Elvis. My God, I was going to say Richard Nixon. Philip Baker Hall.
Hoffman.
No, Philip Baker. Shut up. Shut up. Not Dylan Baker.
Joe Don.
God, no, I'm confused.
Dylan McDermott.
No, he only has two names.
Dylan Thomas McDillan. No, we have a movie here where Philip Baker Hall plays Richard Nixon.
Oh, right.
That's
Secret Honor.
That's the one.
Robert Altman movie.
Which was not available for ages.
Yeah, we got a Criterion.
I picked it up for like $1.
Yeah.
Anyway, I never knew it even existed.
Yeah.
Was a highly
so everyone's just waving guns around. But they do kind of establish it because Philip Baker Hall says to Dennis Farina, like, send a guy with money. Like, this is stupid. And Serrano's just like, no. Pardon me. I know this Jack Walsh. They get around these little plot contrivances because they sort of write in that the characters are somewhat flawed or like it didn't really take me out of the movie, but I did wonder why everybody was allowed to be walking around in an airport with a loaded gun.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's a Fed or a mobster. Like they're just sitting there in the cafeteria. The only person who's not a mobster or a Fed is the kid who works at Taco Bell. Like everybody else has got a gun, and they're kind of looking around like, I'm just here for.
Well, it's the commissary at the end of Blazing Saddles or something. It's like there's going to be a giant brawl or something.
Just this one we have to watch.
Well, the thing is, I like the way it worked because there wasn't a shootout, which I'm happy with. A shootout would have been boring. Shootouts are always boring.
Yeah,
unless it's like Sam Peckinpah movie or something like that. But yeah, then it just ends. He gets arrested. And
Serrano's got the discs.
But the ending, there's two bits of the ending that I liked a lot. One when Charles Grodin gives him his money belt, and it's full of $1,000 bills. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do with $1,000 bills?
$1,000 bills.
If it was full of ones, it wouldn't have been as impressive.
Well, hundreds would have been a little more, maybe. Thousands.
It's like wrinkled $1 bills from the strip club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of them have blood on it. But
then it's a change purse, like whenever they run, it goes jingle jangle.
But yeah, then he goes to pay for his cab. Can you break 1,000? And I think the cab driver swears at him.
I love that ending because you got that New York cabbie going like, "Get out of here, you bum!" It's clearly put there in post. Oh, it is LA. You're right. And I love that last line where Jack just goes, "Like it looks like I'm walking." And he just starts walking.
Actually, the best scene at the end there was when he leaves and he turns around to Jack's leaving Charles Grodin by the phone booth, and he turns around and he's just gone.
He's just gone.
Just gone. I thought it was just a good little poignant scene.
I've always liked that moment. Yeah. But knowing that Charles Grodin is no longer with us, it seemed a little more. I won't lie. I got a little bit teary.
I did.
Little damp around the eyelashes, because I was like, oh, that's a really, really sweet little farewell.
Mm-hmm.
And that last scene of it's like. The whole time he's had 300,000.
Yeah,
like he didn't pat him down. Like, which means Charles Grodin must have been wearing that money belt when he was just hanging out at home with his wife and his dog.
Yeah.
Basically, I guess you would have to though. Yeah. Just like at any point.
I was thinking about what was the point of the dog scene? Like he could
could have been trimmed.
He could have just went in and just got him, but he had to be like cornered by the dog in the shower. Like that didn't really.
I thought I was going to make some big dog phobia joke later.
But what I did, could have been trimmed. I also really liked. The whole sequence where you see Jack's process in how he, like he's got friends on the force, and then he goes to New York and he does the phone call trick, and then like you see just how inventive this guy is. But the one thing he didn't account for was his fucking dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little bit of foreshadowing that this guy plans really well, but
things always fall apart.
But there's always it's chaos theory, which hadn't been invented yet. It took Jeff Goldblum to. Make us realize that the best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah, nature finds a way.
Yeah. So, just a few insults I wanted to throw in that I thought were particularly good. Marvin says, "If you move, I'll tear your fucking lungs out."
Yeah. Wait, who did he say that to? It was like it wasn't. Was
it to the Duke?
I think it might have been to the Duke. Yeah.
If you move, I'll tear your fucking lungs out. Yeah. Well, I also like it when he goes, when the mobster's like, "Do you know who I work for?" He's like, "No, make sure you're talking to the microphone," which is such an 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I grew up in Surrey, and every time right before he got punched by somebody, they'd always go, "Talking to the mic." At one point,
it was dark in Surrey, apparently.
De Niro calls Joe Pantoliano, "You slime ball in a sea of pus."
Yeah, right.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And the line that I actually remember so clearly from the first time I saw it is when Joe Pantoliano was on the phone having this heated argument.
Which all the time.
He's like freaking out. And he's like, he's telling me to go fuck myself. You're telling me to go fuck myself. Everybody's telling me to go fuck myself.
He's screaming that in a crowded
in his office.
I thought it was in when he ran to get the phone.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
In the restaurant they go to.
He was a customer at Black Dog Candy.
Joe Pantoliano?
Joey Pants?
Oh, no kidding. Cool. I also love Joe Pantoliano.
Yep.
Yeah. Joey Pants is great.
Yeah.
So,
I like him in most everything.
Great cast, great script. I mean, I agree. I agree. Like, I do think the airplane scene could have been trimmed. Like,
whatever.
They could have shaved 10 or 15 minutes off this movie, but like overall, I still totally enjoyed it.
Actually, interesting thing I read today. You know the scene when Charles Grodin falls in the river.
Yeah.
And then De Niro jumps in after him. Well, apparently that water was so cold they had to fly to New Zealand to shoot the going down the rapids.
No kidding.
Yeah. Because it was too cold. It was too cold to shoot it in Arizona.
Warm water.
Yeah.
I didn't.
In Arizona, it was too cold.
In Zona. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think they're shooting it in the wintertime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say because
Well, yeah,
I've been to Arizona in August and
It's a little
not
hot.
too cold.
Yeah. Well, the scenery when they're driving through, I think it's Monument Valley. That's when
Yeah.
they're going through. It's amazing. I've driven through there before. It's fucking beautiful. It's such a
It's,
great part of the country.
It's like when he's driving. God, he steals so many vehicles, and
Yeah. Crashes so many.
I mean, he's like, imagine the guy whose Jeep that was. Like, kid is sick in the hospital,
Yeah.
and he comes. Some bounty hunter has stolen his Jeep.
And then trashes.
I never really knew where he was. I mean, that's the one criticism I would have is I didn't really ever, with the exception of Chicago, LA, and New York, I didn't really ever know where they were
It's weird because
geographically.
Because they're in Chicago, and then he's having him wire money to him in Amarillo, which is in Texas.
That's Texas, right?
Yeah, which is the northern part of Texas, but it's not on the way to LA. Like Chicago's north, you have to drive all the way south and then over. Why would you just drive across the country?
I have another question too. It just occurred to me because the movie's called Midnight Run because I guess it's a slang term that bounty hunters use. Like you get.
Yeah, I've used it a lot.
So the whole thing is Joey Pants is like, Jack, you got to get him here by midnight. But never before had I thought, well, okay, so
Why?
they get there at like 11:45. Like, what's going to happen? I don't think he has to sign a piece of paper.
Well, he's going to prison or something.
No, what happened with the whole thing of the movie is that if he isn't back by midnight, Joey Pants loses the bail money.
Oh, no, I understand that.
But why midnight?
But if it's what's the difference between 11:45 and 12:01? Like, does someone show up at midnight and say,
60
like, that's it, I want my?
Yeah, no, it's the contract that they have for the bail.
But what if it was like 12:30?
He's out.
Or 1 a.m.
He's
Like,
out.
it's
He's
a
broken
deadline.
it's a
No,
deadline.
I understand it's a deadline, but who's there to?
Well, they might be a little
Who
flexible.
oversees? Is there like a third party who
There's-
shows up and it's like it's 12:01? He's
Well, he
free
doesn't
to
show up at the time. It's just that he won't get the money.
Well, how would anybody know?
They have records, and now they probably have.
Well, who has?
records.
This is my question. Who has records?
The
The
courts.
authorities.
The courts. The bail people are
But
the bail people work.
I see.
With
So,
the courts.
so why
But the
didn't
courts won't even be open at midnight.
No, they won't, but they will honor the thing. And then
so why not just lie and say, yeah, he got here at 11:30?
Well, I'm sure sometimes they do lie, but then there's probably some ways that you can't. I'm sure that there's a mechanism that they have.
Also not.
And there's
really
also a
important
conceit of this
Well, no,
is in
but-
a movie, and it might not be exactly how it plays
But
out.
surely, like 9 a.m. run would be a make money.
Well,
You gotta get him here by 9 a.m.
I think the
on
midnight-
Monday.
I think
9
the
a.m.
midnight run thing is meant to be slightly metaphorical in that it's when the deadline
It's an overnight.
is whenever, right? So it might be midnight in this case, but it might also be 6 o'clock
like a graveyard
on
shift.
Monday. It's
Yeah, or-
Monday
or
at six.
Literally a
Or
graveyard.
taking the red eye flight. It's sort of like
Yeah.
it's just a thing that they say.
Yeah, because
It's just words that came out of their mouth.
you have pink eye when you get off a plane like that.
Oh, I
It's-
hate the
it's
red
like
eye.
literal-
It's the
literal.
worst.
That's not bad.
Oh, I hate it.
Well, we could do red eye for our next.
That's not a bad little. That's a Wes Craven movie. It's not a bad.
As long as we're talking about like literal expression. Sorry, not literal expressions. Figurative. Whatever.
Metaphorical
Figurative
expressions.
expression. The
Right.
motion picture.
Right.
Was
Midnight
that
Run.
Kurt Russell in the 90s, that one.
Well, let's wrap this thing up.
Let's-
I think we've talked enough about this movie.
So let's start with our guests. So
Yeah.
Josie, question number 1, does it hold up? Question number 2, it is Monday here at Black Dog Video, which
Pretend it's
as we
Monday.
all know, it's 2 for 1. If somebody comes to the counter and presents you with Midnight Run, what other movie would you recommend as a pairing?
Oh, well,
So number 1, does it hold up? Number 2, what movie?
yeah.
I probably should have given you a heads up. That's what we're doing tonight.
Well, no, I know we always do that, and
Okay,
that's the
good.
only thing I prepared.
Oh, good.
Because I didn't watch the movie because I didn't know you guys were doing it
Until this
until this afternoon. But yesterday I thought about watching it, and I've seen it a bunch of times previously. So, I figured I'd know it anyway. But I didn't watch it last night just because I was like, I didn't feel like it. I have a copy at home on DVD.
So it's hard for you to say it still holds up, I guess, because you haven't watched it in a while.
I haven't watched it in about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But the last time I watched it, I laughed a lot. it was the movie I remembered.
So like 2018, it held up.
Yeah.
But you don't know about.
I don't know about 2021 post-pandemic, whatever.
who knows?
Maybe who knows? But I imagine it does. I imagine it does.
This is like Inception.
I imagine it does. And I would say I have two choices.
Okay, Alex.
But I'm gonna say the first one, which is probably one that everybody else has already thought of because it's been mentioned already. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Obviously
would be the other one that I would pick, just because, like, I'm pretty sure when I saw this movie, even originally, I don't know if it was out yet or not, but maybe when I saw it on tape, I was like, that would go good together.
Planes, Trains is like 87.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure early on I thought these were a good choice, like way back when.
Don't take
but I do have another one, and I will say it afterwards if nobody else says it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah.
So my second choice, this is not a first choice, would be because I thought, well, maybe you want something that's a little newer,
Nourish.
that people, but is I think keeps the whole thing going and has two people with interesting chemistry. The Trip.
Which one?
That's a fine choice.
The first one.
First one's the best one.
It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Although
I like the other ones, but yeah.
The last one is really good too. The Trip to
Greece.
Yeah. I thought that those two, the middle one's not so much.
Yeah.
I never even occurred to me.
That's a good one, yeah.
That's kind of a perfect pick.
Yeah.
Two actors with charisma. It's funny. There's
Yeah.
less machine guns.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
actually,
there's a lot
I
of
thought of it when I
car
thought of
crashes.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I thought, well, that's the obvious choice, and then I was like, oh, you could watch The Trip actually with either of those.
Yeah.
As a that would be a good double bill with either of those movies.
Because those guys have good chemistry as well.
Yeah, and they might be more familiar to younger
And
viewers and stuff.
it's a nice contrast too, because
Yeah.
it's a completely different tone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's quiet. It's
There's
it's
more
svelte.
more Michael Caine
It's
impressions.
more svelte.
More
Yeah.
svelte.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. That is the worst Michael Caine. That was my Michael Caine.
Really?
That was
Wow.
pretty bad.
You were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Nope.
Oh, that's
Nope.
bad.
That's getting worse, actually.
That was what was that?
That was closer to Charles
the
Grodin.
Italian Job.
Yeah.
Which I've only seen the remake of, but I really like. Great choices.
Okay.
I was going to suggest maybe we pick a Charles Grodin one each.
I don't think I've seen another Charles Grodin movie.
All right.
This extensive
Okay, so
library of
Josie's
classic
picks being
films.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and The Trip. The first one. How about you, Darren?
The first time I watched this movie, which I mentioned earlier, I thought it was all right. It was fine. Last night I had a blast watching it. I really enjoyed it. It's one of the better movies I think we've done for the podcast. It was. Excuse me. I actually stopped taking notes after a while because I just wanted to sit back and enjoy the film. And yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It was it's too long. There's obviously some fat could be trimmed, but I don't want to nitpick. It's good. Rent this movie. My pairing, probably obvious as well, because when I was watching this movie, I kept thinking, oh, this movie could use some women in it. So my obvious pick is going to be Thelma and Louise.
Boom!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a great road trip movie.
Yep.
It's got good comedy elements and great chemistry between Gene Davis and
It's
Susan
another
Sarandon.
one that I'd like to rewatch. I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a long time either, but it's great and it's it's poignant. It's got a lot to say and it's got that great ending.
There's explosions in it.
Yeah, it's got sexy Brad Pitt. So yeah, there's a lot.
It does.
There's a lot of good things about Thelma and Louise.
I did think that there was that one moment on the highway, which is such a Thelma and Louise moment when you think it's all over because all the cops from everywhere are coming, and then they just drive into the desert.
Yeah.
Excellent pick.
Thank you.
Mr. Alex to my left. Does it hold up, and what would your pairing be?
Well, I've only ever liked this movie or liked it a lot. Sort of thing. I have never loved it or thought it was brilliant or anything. So it held up in the terms of just, I liked it. I liked it as much as I ever did. It still, to me, at times feels like it's swinging pendulum style and not always successfully between straight up
I didn't
action.
think you were going to say pendulum. Sorry.
Straight up action.
Swinging with the hand motion.
You're talking about a giant dick in the wind.
I'm just like, what are you swinging? Sorry.
It's pendulous penis.
I've had a few drinks and I'm being a jerk. Continue.
Between like a dark action movie and a comedy, it sometimes can't really make up its mind. But I like the film. I definitely recommend it. I would pair it with what I feel is one of my all-time favorite buddy kind of road trip films, The Hitcher. And I think, and The Hitcher, I feel, is a better film. I really like this movie.
Which we've done on the podcast.
But the dark duality going down the road together, and both have a bitch and taking out a helicopter with like a gun scene.
That's true.
That totally reminded me. The highway scenes reminded me of The Hitcher. I love The Hitcher. You could tell from other podcasts when I praised it.
That's one thing this movie was missing was Jennifer Jason Leigh being torn asunder by two trucks.
But I kept expecting, like, when they were driving away from the helicopter, because I hadn't seen this film a lot, I couldn't remember exactly. I'm like, it'd be funny to edit in like Rucker Hauer and nowhere shooting it down, you know.
Then you can do that though, right?
You can do that if you
I
want.
don't know how to do that kind of stuff.
Hey, there's one for Mythbusters.
Josie does her own editing and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
It's my fantasy edit. If you ever want to edit those two scenes together,
you
just
totally,
share it
all you
online.
need. How many films? How many films could you find with Rutger Hauer? At the end of a high-powered rifle.
Yeah. Taking out a
Several,
helicopter.
especially like his sort of breakthrough film, The Osterman Weekend, where he plays a guy with a high-powered rifle,
Right.
and you could just easily take one of those scenes and go, book, put it in there,
Or hobo with a high-powered rifle.
or hobo with a shotgun.
Yeah. Or Wanted Dead or Alive, he puts the grenade in Gene Simmons.
Oh, that's right. You can
Gene Simmons from Kiss, not the actress Gene Simmons.
That's good.
Rutger Hauer's one where it wasn't until after he passed away where I realized the immense body of work. Because I can name a handful. The obvious ones, Blade Runner, blah blah blah, and then you look at his filmography, and it's like 1,000 movies.
Yeah.
That's true. He was Holland's top star. I mean, he was. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Soldier of Orange, among others. But
So
all I mean is that they both. That's all I meant. And I only went on the Rutger Hauer tangent. Like I was expecting him to drive up and shoot down that helicopter. I totally forgot that De Niro shot it down. Yeah. So I thought they were just going to get away from it somehow. It would hit a mountain.
You know, would be great. Would be if
so I was pleasantly surprised.
Would be if it was revealed, like in a post-credit sequence on Midnight Run, that like De Niro totally missed the helicopter, and then it pulls back, and there's Rutger Hauer, like on the other side of the bridge, and he winks.
Hitcher pre-hits.
All he does is he just lives to blow up helicopters. That guy.
How about you there, Dylan? What do you think about this thing?
Oh, I mean, I've made my feelings perfectly clear to this tribunal. Love the movie. Loved it when I first saw it. Love it every time I watch it. And just loved having an opportunity to dust off my old VHS version, my copy.
Have you ever seen on DVD or anything like that?
No, of course I have.
Okay,
you know, I've seen it. I've seen plenty of formats.
Oh yeah, 16 millimeter.
Yeah.
The side of a bus.
Projected in the midnight sky.
Oh, on the moon.
Yeah.
Cool.
In a drug-fueled hallucination. I saw the movie start to finish, including the credits. Very realistic hallucination.
Okay.
Anyway, love it. Love this movie. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm just so glad we got to do it on the podcast finally. Yes, absolutely. I'd recommend it. When customers come in and rent it, invariably it turns into like a 10 or 15 minute conversation just about how great this fucking movie is.
Conversation where Dylan
I won't let them leave.
That's not a conversation.
I got one of those
diatribe.
one of those creepy like executive buttons that locks the door. You know, from the desk.
Darren, that's why Darren, we now have the hook that comes up and pulls you away.
Yeah. No, it's a trap door.
Talking to the customer too long.
And people are fans of this movie. Like it's often in my picks, like on my little picks shelf.
Right.
And yeah, it's got its fans, and I always love to meet them. So if you love the movie, come on and
listen to that Dylan talk.
And listen to me talk incessantly about that kid on the airplane, because he actually went on to do some shit.
Oh.
Anyway, my pairings for Charles Grodin Day, I might consider pairing it with the Muppets. The Great Muppet Caper, because that's the only other movie of Charles Grodin's that I've seen more than once.
Well, Clifford, you've seen that a number of times.
I've seen clips from it, and it looks like the stuff of nightmares.
I thought you had a tattoo of Clifford on you.
That's why it's the stuff of nightmares. Have you ever read the Kafka story in the Penal Colony?
I have not read that one.
It's like this torture. You know the one? Yeah. Greg knows in the Penal Colony. It's this torture device that stabs you with little needles and spells out your crime on your back. And at this blissful moment before you die, you can actually read what has been like driven into your flesh.
Right.
Did that with Martin Short's face from Clifford.
Is that your parent?
I don't. Sorry.
Wow.
No, my pairing. I genuinely can't decide.
So you have none.
So I actually have 6.
Oh my
Oh
god.
God.
But okay.
You've eclipsed Alex for
Honorable mention. We don't have this movie, so I'm just going to throw this out there. The movie Flashback, starring Kiefer Sutherland and Dennis Hopper.
We don't have that?
Nobody remembers this movie.
I remember that movie.
I remember it.
Sentimental Dreck.
That was the working title, but
it starts off promising with all this awesome tension between Kiefer Sutherland and Dennis Hopper, and then it throws it all away in favor of this totally cheesy, saccharine. Everyone's a hippie at heart message.
But it does start. It does start out with like
starts off really solid, and then it completely goes down the
anyway. And there's talking heads in the soundtrack, so I like it. My actual pick is Get Shorty. That's the one. It's got Dennis Farina.
Right.
It is a crime-based comedy.
Right.
People say "fuck" every second word. Look that up on the list there, Greg. Like, does Get Shorty get any notice for most fucks?
Any fucking notice?
And if we don't have Get Shorty, you got to go Beverly Hills Cop.
I guess
because it's like because Beverly Hills Cop is an equally funny, equally action-packed flick. And those are my 2 picks.
I like this one better than Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, it's much better than Beverly Hills Cop. But I do have a soft spot for Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, it's
one I haven't seen in a long time. Gosh.
Yeah, same thing.
And I was going to say Blues Brothers, but we talked about it. Planes, Trains, obviously. And Quick Change, I think, would also be a really interesting.
I like to do that movie for the. I like to watch that again. So.
Quick Change is an all-time favorite of mine.
I know.
Quick Change is terrific. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, a.k.a. Black Dog After Dark. Josie, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on the last minute one for one of my favorite films.
Yeah,
to rewatch.
If people were to try to track you down, do you want them to?
Like a bounty hunter?
And if so,
please do not reenact the film with me.
If somebody wanted to purchase your zines or check out your work, maybe Twitter, maybe a Facebook.
You can find me on Facebook as the Indolent Spinster.
The Indolent Spinster.
Yeah.
That's INDOLENT.
Don't try to spell it.
Yeah, and then Spinster, which is spin with a STER.
Spinster. Yeah. Like a spins class.
Yeah, kind of.
Like the bed spins.
Yeah.
Right.
Unmarried lady of a certain age.
Unmarried lady of a certain age.
Yeah.
Who is indolent. And whatever.
Well, if you're unmarried by a certain age, doesn't it automatically mean you're indolent? Kind of.
No, automatically means you're lucky. Darren, you are here. You are here at the shop.
Yeah.
All right.
Too much.
All right. Signing off.
Yeah. Also on the Much Ballyhooed newsletter.
The newsletter and the little I do little video reviews of movies that I haven't seen before that I watched on our website. I do it once a week. Dylan cleverly puts them all together and makes me look good. And check them out.
And what website would that be?
Oh, the blackdogvideo.ca website.
Correct.
Yes,
not to be confused with blackdogvideo.bc.ca.
Yeah, that's the old. We're moving everything over to the new one. It's a work in progress, but go check out the new one. Check out our podcasts, the old ones, and our little videos.
And we've also got loads of great material up on YouTube at Black Dog Video Empire is what you're looking for. Black Dog Video Empire, and Darren's self-hosted show. Movies
I should have seen by now, but for some reason haven't.
Something like that. Movies I should have seen by now in brackets.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can fit that in a
it's fine.
In a title screen.
It's whatever. I could have thought a better title than that.
But they're great,
I think they're really nice and fun.
Yes, they're loads of fun.
I enjoy them.
You just need to change your shirt once in a while.
I changed my shirt for yesterday.
At least twice a week.
I like that they're reasonably short.
I try to keep them under around 3 minutes. I don't want to. I don't want to bore anybody.
All the best things in life are under 3 minutes. Mr. Alex Chisholm, you're not on Twitter, you're not on Instagram. What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? Explain yourself.
Do you want people to find you? And if so, how can they do it?
Drop by Black Dog sometime and say hi. And
the
Rio will carry on. We will reopen someday soon.
Hopefully next week.
I'll see you there. I program. I work a lot behind the scenes, but I also work the doors sometimes.
What is the Rio?
If it's me, and if it is, I'll say hi.
For the uninitiated, the Rio is a theater.
It's a multi-media venue. Yes, movie theater, live venue, everything.
Cabaret.
Presently, they're calling themselves.
Well, we had to become a sports bar during the lockdown because we're a live venue in a movie theater that also has bar service. So technically, we're also a bar. Theaters have been closed, as everyone knows here in BC, due to the pandemic.
Yeah, way too long.
So we reopened technically as a bar, but the problem is we're now closed as a bar until further notice because only bars patios
no patios
are allowed open, and we do not have a patio. But we're determined to come back. So if you want to find me, just come say hi at Black Dog or say hi to me at the door at the Rio. And if I'm on duty when you come by, I'll say hi back.
Depending on they could be listening to this.
You guys should have just cut a giant hole in the roof and then
I
you get a
hear
patio.
I hear you.
Like demons. You just drop a helicopter
to the roof.
to the ceiling.
The way I look at it, the Rio, like I've been there since the beginning, and all the various challenges that everyone's had to go through along the way. It's almost like a video game that gets a harder skill level. Like first it was just being open as a new business, and then it was like, we want to get a liquor license. We almost got a business too, but we get to the next level, and then it's like, now it's like we have to fight to stay open. The thing almost got sold, so that was another skill level where the owners had to buy it, the Corinne and the team had to buy it,
and sell the 3D projector to do that.
The boss, and now it's like the challenge everyone else is having, like, can we stay open during a deadly
and now you've got that gorilla up on the balcony throwing barrels at people. And you have to find an Italian plumber to jump up there.
The little space invaders.
That's right. Centipedes. There's centipedes in the ceiling.
Pac-Man in the basement,
and blastoids.
But
all that stuff.
Gosh, yeah, that's the one thing. I guess we reinvented ourselves sometime. Maybe we can come a video game arcade or something.
That's actually
I would never want to switch over.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yes,
no, they're too noisy.
And I have been Dylan Reimer. I'm a comedian. Unlike my Luddite compatriots, I actually have a Twitter account.
I have a Twitter account.
I have a Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And an Insta.
Well, I gave you an opportunity you didn't even mention.
Well, no. If you look up Indolent Spinster, you will find most of those things, except for the Twitter, which is Buddha Rhubarb.
Buddha Rhubarb.
That's getting complicated.
I just hear
which is why I only post movie reviews and pictures to my Twitter. I don't engage with any people because the people on Twitter are horrible.
Oh, they're the worst. They're absolute worst.
So don't engage with them. I just post things, and occasionally somebody will like them. Like the director of that Thunder Road and that other snow movie. He liked my reviews of his films because I loved them.
Yeah, they're good films.
All right, so it's not completely evil.
No, you can get likes from directors, which if you work in a video store,
that's a big deal.
Is pretty cool.
A friend of mine has recently befriended none other than Edgar Wright.
Oh, cool.
So I'm doing everything I can to maybe get Edgar Wright on the show.
Oh, yeah.
He gave us a shout out on social media at the Rio years.
Edgar Wright?
Yeah, because we did the triple bill of his films.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, the trilogy, and he gave us a shout out.
I chat every now and then with the guy that did Miracle Mile. He's a nice guy. Steve Jarnett, I believe his name is. No.
But that makes up for you horribly offending that other director.
Not the director.
Of Face Off, the Canadian Face Off.
I was thinking about that today.
Art Hindle.
What an awful thing I did.
You're a monster.
Art Hindle? You were mean to Art Hindle?
I was.
You're gonna take it to your grave.
I don't know what was wrong with me when I still feel terrible about that.
I've texted her.
I like Art Hindle. When I look back at the movie that I diss, I actually like it more than I did when I watched it. So.
Oh, okay.
But
So Art, if you're listening, Art probably listens. Art's been listening to every podcast, hoping for an apology.
My apologies to you, Art, and to the makers of Face Off. I was unwarrantedly cruel to you guys in my review of that.
And I'm sorry, Art, when I said I prefer the Nicolas Cage Face Off to your Face Off. I know yours came out first.
Amanda, who used to work here, she's been on the podcast before. I text her once in a while, and she seldom replies, really never replies. But I texted her when that happened back in the day. Oh my God, Darren offended Art Hindle. All she texted back was like, ha 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 ha. It was like lines long, the text. The nonstop.
What does Amanda have against Art Hindle? Oh, this is.
No, she has.
We've opened a can of worms.
She just loved the fact that Darren offended.
We are through the looking glass, people.
He's in like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. He's in
I'm
one of my all-time favorites, being Black
grave.
Christmas. Oh, he's a damn fine actor.
I like him a lot.
But the fact that you offended him is very funny.
So yeah, you can find me at Dylan Reimer on Twitter, and that's DYLANR.
You use your name?
I do. You know what? There were no other. There's only one other Dylan Reimer
in the
who
world.
is worth anything on this planet.
Oh my God.
And he's an Australian winemaker, and we chat sometimes. But I beat him to Twitter, so he's like Dylan Reimer 2 or Dylan Reimer 69.
Oh, wow.
69. Yeah.
Well, you know,
66.
before I transitioned, I had a different name, and I was Facebook friends with 7 other people who had my name.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm still
The
Facebook friends with one of them
Magnificent
because he died.
Oh,
Um,
so you would have been.
You bumped up the ladder.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the rest of them dumped me when I transitioned.
Really?
Yeah.
Loser.
Oh.
Well, because I wasn't the same name person anymore,
Oh.
you know. So
you weren't part of the
I weren't
club
part of
anymore.
that. I wasn't part of that group or whatever.
Well, have you looked up any Josie Boyces out there?
I think I did when I changed my name just to see how many there were, and there weren't that many, so I was kind of okay with it.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
just like it's a new
know.
team.
Yeah,
Fucking A.
yeah, but this one of them was doing that, was going around friending all the people named. I'll use my dead name, even I don't really care, Joe Burgess, because I have books with that name, so please buy those.
Okay, Joe Burgess.
But that I was friends with a whole bunch of other people named that.
Right.
But you have,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was on Facebook when Facebook first started. There wasn't a lot to do. Facebook when it first started was like there was nothing.
I
It's
find
like
this.
you and
I
Mark
find
Zuckerberg were friends.
I
That's
find
it.
this very reassuring. I'm not the only superficial person with a
In the
microphone in front of my face
1990s,
right now.
in the 1990s in Halifax, I'm from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, of course, but in Halifax, Nova
Of course.
Scotia, the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design hired a professor named Alex Chisholm, and they took out an ad in the paper talking about like it was an ad for the
Oh,
school,
yeah.
and they actually said we welcome new faculty, and they listed him. And my father, also named Alex Chisholm, got a bunch of messages on the answer machine thinking it was me because I was away at like art school. Like,
Right.
according-
Right.
People assumed it was right around the time I graduated. People assumed I'd moved back and was teaching there.
I
But I wasn't. That'd be a great
Too
job.
bad they
The Nova
couldn't have
Scotia
sent you a
College of Art
check
and
or
Design
something.
is awesome.
Sure.
And when in the early days of Facebook, I got a bunch of messages from people saying, "You're such a great teacher." I said, "I'm not the guy from NASCAR." And I spoke to him once. I'm like, "Yeah, people keep sending me messages. I guess you did a really great job." "Oh, thanks, man. That's hilarious." Yeah, people have mistaken me for a guy from Dartmouth, so I guess we're this. Yeah,
I
it was
wasn't.
like Alex Chisholm, Nova Scotia.
I wasn't aware that Dartmouth had reached the 90s yet.
They
I'll
just got-
tell you,
they
they
just got
did
electricity.
several
I thought that.
The 1890s we're talking.
Oh,
about.
okay. So never mind. I just thought of yet another disparaging thing to say about Dartmouth, but Alex's friends all hate me enough.
Well,
I've
how
made-
worse can it get?
I've made enemies with all of Dartmouth. I like
That was
Dartmouth.
your karaoke cover of that Bare Naked Ladies Hello City song.
Yeah, but that's about Halifax, not Dartmouth.
Close enough.
Well, it's all in one municipality.
So you can find me at on Instagram. It's _ Dylan Reimer or what the fuck it is.
Send your hate mail from Dartmouth to.
Bring it on. Go down to the library and sign up to use the computer to send me a hate
A fax.
a MySpace hate message
to your
or COD space or whatever. They just put a message in a COD and send it west.
Yeah, people have to kiss it along the way.
There's nothing wrong with kissing a COD. Okay, this in conclusion. Well, I've been to Newfoundland. It's what you do.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm a comedian. Check me. Check
He
me
is,
out.
really, he is.
Check me
Yeah.
out. Check me out on YouTube.
Check him
He
out.
gets paid to be funny.
Or
You'll never guess.
at-
this.
W. I know you hate it when I say W, but I'm keeping it old school. www.dylanreimer.com.
On the World Wide Web.
On the world, yes.
Is that what that
on
is?
the
Yes.
on the planetary communication
Oh,
extravaganza.
Can we turn this off now?
Yeah, please.
I'm
turn this
trying to.
It's like Midnight Run itself. It's going on way too long.
It's longer
Need
than
some
Midnight Run
trimming.
at this point.
If you don't stop this podcast, I'm going to stab you in the heart with
It's
a
longer.
fucking pencil.
It's longer than Heaven's Gate. There you go.
Yeah.
You.
That should be your tagline for the end of every podcast.
So thank you to all you slime balls in the sea of pus, and thank you to Greg
Yes,
Stephenson, who
Yes.
is
Thank you, Greg.
our
Who puts up with us for way
our
too
tech
long?
impresario.
Yeah.
I would say long suffering at this point.
Yeah.
But so are you, listener.
He's the
You
one that
have-
makes us sound as good as we do.
Yes, but he can't do anything about our actual voices.
No.
No.
Too bad.
Yeah, this is recorded at Black Dog Video, 1470 Commercial Drive here in sunny, rainy,
Dark.
lightning-y
Oh, it was awesome.
wow, yeah.
Vancouver. We're not going to talk about the lightning.
No.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Let's not talk
It
about
was
that. Too long.
a farewell to Charles Grodin from
That's
the
right.
heavens. And yeah, rest in peace, Charles Grodin. Everybody out there, be good to everybody out there, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was fucking great, guys.
That was a good one.
Nice.
Especially the second half. I was worried that we were going to come back from the break and not have
And not having
anything
to
to
talk
talk about.
about exactly.
But that was really, really good.
Well, we talked a lot about stuff that was in the movie.
I do kind of like the digressions on this one. And it was only an hour and 44 minutes.
There you go.
Minus the 10-minute break.
Well,
Although
the
we
big
said some funny
difference
stuff
was-
on. Hey, Greg, tell me you
Yeah,
were
but
recording
the-
the break, right?
Yeah.
But
You-
the big difference is
I
we didn't
don't
get
stop
bogged down in plot points.
Yeah.
I think
No, normally we do it like, and then they walk to the lobby, and then they
Yeah,
like.
right.
I'm guilty of that too. Like,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
definitely-
yeah.
so. YouTube, thank you
I
for
think
watching.
there's something to that.
Oh yeah, we're
There's
recording
well,
that.
I mean,
anybody
of
out there's
course,
watching,
but
thank
we
you.
were
But-
doing it way.
You
Listen
can
to
get
the podcast
caught up
on
in that as a
Podbean,
formula. Right?
and
Like
just go to
my,
Anchor
like
and
my,
Google and all that, or just watch it right here.
history teacher always said,
Thank you
getting
so
bogged
much
down
for
in
joining us here at
isolated
Black Dog
facts.
Video.
We
Fuck
just got
off.
the-
Nah, I'm just kidding.
I like
Okay.
not
Go
having
away.
a full plot.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye,
beauty.
podcast.
You will no longer be live, and yeah.